Welcome back, everyone, as we get into the second set of the day. It is going to be Natus Vincere versus the Detroit Renegades. My name is Gormizer, and to help me break this one down for you and to bring it to you is going to be Nick Pretty Hair Keo as we come through. And this one's going to be one of those matchups that, again, what I was saying about Renegades yesterday before they got their second win was just their job this split isn't to make that minus now 39 some incredible number.
Yeah.
It's to mess with everybody in essentially the top 7.
Right. It's going to be very difficult for them. Again, these records don't reset at the midway point, so they're still in the biggest hole in the Premier League. And frankly, for me, it was a great upset, great set yesterday, but it's the exact same start as phase number 1, right? They still have a lot of games to play. They have to start somewhere, though. I think the only difference for me is that Kanga are different than they were in week 1 of phase 1. Now they've had that whole phase playing together. That main excuse that I think was used is that they didn't have a lot of scrim time and practice together, things like that. And while that was valid back then, it's not valid of week 1 of phase 2. So this is a bigger win for the Renegades in total, but it's still a very large mountain to climb. Na'Vi are still an incredibly strong opponent that I don't think will have that off day very often. If you want to throw that one in there for Penta, that was their off day this year. It's unfortunate, but Renegades still have a very long way to go.
And if you're looking at it, like, I think your best case scenario if you're Renegades here is to try and take Na'Vi on a day that maybe they haven't been able to warm up as much or they haven't gotten so much. I mean, like, Lazy at one point came in and was chilling with me. Like, me and him were just chatting before this game. But you're also looking at, I mean, they went 7 lengthy games against Envy yesterday. I mean, a ton of 4-3s. Yeah. They've got pretty much everything they need. So Renegades as an individuals are going to have to perform at an exceptional level. And someone who did that yesterday, someone who like was fighting for the win even when it didn't seem like maybe they could do it, was Shadow, who just blew up in games 5 and 6.
Exactly. It's down the stretch. It's that back-to-back really, really strong performances. I want to say it was like 16-3 and then like a 16-4 or something like that performances back-to-back. Cassie and Leon yesterday were big for him. Played the only Bomb King pretty much that we saw yesterday as well. But he just looked like he just didn't want to lose, man. He looked like he was fighting so hard to keep his team alive. And he really carried a large portion of the victory on Frozen Guard for sure.
It's that moment when, and you could kind of tell, because when you get into these lengthy sets, especially considering how late they started their set as well, you have to look at endurance and you have to look at how tired some of these players are getting, right? Because they're so mentally focused on this for so long that it tires you out, it drains you. And so that's like that moment where it's like you could see his second win coming right back into him, where it's just like, I can keep going, I can keep fighting. Like, I am going to make sure we stay in this while my team like gets to the point where they hit that second win.
I'll never forget, I played a ranked game on Timbermill that literally lasted 30 minutes. I'm not even trolling. And I was done. I just closed Paladins after that. I was like, I don't want to play anymore. I'm good. I've had my fill. I couldn't imagine playing a 3-hour Premier League set. I mean, the amount of focus, the amount of adrenaline, that's all exhausting stuff to have to deal with. And you will see it affect players, especially in those Game 6s, Game 7s. People get tired. They get frustrated. They start to make mistakes, snap at each other. All that type of stuff comes especially on a day like yesterday when you have such a long one. But hopefully Na'Vi and the boys will be looking to put this one away very quickly. History would point to a 4-0 or a 4-1.
And, you know, talking about Shadow, I want to say being able to kind of reclaim that for his team and kind of keep things going for them when it looked like their backs were against the wall. Creatives does something very similar, actually, for his team. I remember there was a set against Envy last split where Na'Vi were saying, we were pretty much done at Game 5. Like, going into Game 5, we were ready to quit. We knew it was going to be a 4-1. We knew the game and the set was over.
Yeah.
And then Creatives had one of the most insane Bomb King performances, and they were just saying, like, he was just popping off. He was so excited. And that energy is infectious. Like, it just goes from one player into the next, and they're like, oh my God, like, we can do this. Like, we can keep winning. Like, we're not out yet.
Yeah.
And those kind of, like, momentum shifts counter that, I guess, that other side. Like, when your endurance is starting to wear thin, when you are starting to get incredibly tired, when your hair does happen to turn gray because you've been here for 10 hours in a day, it is very much just that ability to potentially re-energize your team with the snap of your fingers.
I've loved that. And the topic of, being energized, it's great to talk about Creatives for that because he's more of a soft-spoken guy anyway. So I've just personally enjoyed seeing him get more excited, I think, overall, and for the Renegades as well. They need someone to invigorate them. I think Hero stepped up and was trying to be that for them when they were winning big games. He's running down the line, fist bumping, making sure everybody's pumped up. And because that energy is very important in these super, super long games. And the Renegades need that leader, right? Mm-hmm. They just lost their coach. I think they've switched who's doing drafting a couple of times over the course of Phase 1 and into Phase 2. So a sense of identity and who's responsible, I think, for this Renegades team and their success and their mentality is very important to establish early in this Phase 2.
I think my favorite thing about Renegades is, while you have like NIP, Na'Vi, Envy, SSG right now, established teams, they know what they're doing when they come into it. Renegades have been using this year exactly the way you kind of expect, slowly but surely kind of growing together as a team, and not making a lot of drastic changes. Like a lot of the times, especially in the last couple of years, you'd see a team split one didn't work out, we're dropping all four, we're coming back in, like we're coming back in with a entirely new roster,
and then it's like
you're not getting anywhere. Like sometimes there is a problem. I mean, even the Knights kind of were mentioning that. Like if someone is isolated as a problem, it has to be dealt with one way or another. But not changing everybody is definitely big. And for them, like all five of them have slowly but surely been getting better together.
I think Na'Vi is a good roster to point at actually on that topic of they have been that third place team. They really, really not strong. I mean, you can't really call a third place struggling for a long time, but they were not winning stuff. They were not qualifying out as top two because back in the day, that's how we qualified teams. Like going to Valencia, they weren't at Valencia. You had to be top two in EU and NA, and then top one in all the other regions from the PGS to get a spot at Valencia. Na'Vi weren't there just a couple of years ago, but they stuck it out together for the most part. Added Phoenix, small roster changes here, but for the most part, that core of that roster has stuck together for a very, very long time. It has paid dividends. And I hope, because I love that storyline, I hope it works out for the Renegades, but we're starting to go on, 2 years now of just not a lot of success for this roster.
And that's, I think, the biggest question marks. And you kind of have to look at where the Knights were, where it's like, okay, we did take players that were from like Splice and SK, and can we turn them around? That's going to be the big question. But hey, map bans are coming through. Frog Isle, Warder's Gate, Timbermill, and Ascension Peak going to be banned out there. Anything kind of standing out for you? Other like Frog Isle immediately kind of hits a red flag.
Frog Isle a little bit. We didn't see a ton of it yesterday. Did get to see just a little bit of it, and it looked pretty polarizing, to be honest with you. Warder's Gate, that's starting to kind of get up there. It's one of the relatively newer maps, Bazaar being the new est. Just before it, frankly, we kind of went rapid fire on Warder's Gate Bazaar. That's two pretty quick back-to-back maps.
Yeah.
So Warder's Gate never got a ton of time out there in the wild before people kind of either decided, we're just going to ban this one, or we don't want to invest the time into learning this one. But good old Jag Falls will be the first one up.
And this is one of those maps, again, looking at maps that I've kind of classified as the standards, but when you look at Frog Isle, the ban that Na'Vi had, I feel like that's a shot at Invocal. And then I feel like this is another step in the same kind of vein where it's like, we're going to not let you play snipers because we know you're really good at them. And then we're going to take you to a map that really isn't known for long-range sights or long-range fights.
Yeah.
So we can try to control you and what you do, since Invocal, usually in the beginning of the set, especially if you look at yesterday, like he's the one that gets them through games 1 through 4. Shadow picks up the latter half. Like they know how to switch
funny.
off.
I like that. It's a good way to put it. The real story behind Invocal is just the unmesswithable KD, man. No matter what happens, win or lose, this kid's got like a 3 KD, and he plays that DPS role. So performance is a factor. Cassie first picked on Jaguar Falls. Let's talk a little bit about this. It's definitely going to be highly contested, I think, between both of these teams. You know what I mean? Invocal can play it. Shadow can play it. Creatives and Mutu can play it. All 4 main locked DPS players can play it. This is big for Phoenix. I think, Cassie is really, we talk a lot about being that A+ pick. Just plug and play, baby. Even if you want to run that 3 DPS style, that's top of the list for Phoenix. Allegedly, who has 6 champions in his back pocket that he's waiting to pull out. But it looks like it might just be Cassie today.
I mean, yesterday they picked Cassie 6 of the games they played against Envy.
Oh my God,
the only reason they didn't pick her the 7th was I think Envy picked her. So it was just one of those.
Blast.
They won 4 out of those. So she's got a good track record for him. There's no real reason to shy away. And it does open up the draft in a way that, again, it leaves them a little ambiguous. Now they have Ashe and Furia. Like, it's aggressive without having to show all of your hand.
The binoculars, because I think Renegades kind of see what Na'Vi are doing. Yesterday, the story about Na'Vi was like they're branching out. They are running 3 DPS. We talked a lot about how they play the point. That's the heart and soul of this team. They play this double tank, and they're the best in the league at it. However, when you're the best at something, the only way to get better is to do something else great as well. So they're adding this new style, becoming more versatile. But it looks like the Renegades saw it coming, taking away the Barrack Genos, who are a very, very core to a 3 DPS strategy.
And I think that's where we've kind of put Fury in the conversation. Moldamba actually lately, like at least between yesterday and today, hasn't been winning as many games as we used to see out of it. Damage amp right now seems to be kind of the hot commodity. And so Luminary has been prioritized, I think, by most of these teams. Furia fills a little bit of both, right? You only get the damage amp on her ult, but you get the burst healing that you would get out of a Moldamba. Like you kind of have a little bit of one, little bit of the other, and you can try to make it work forward. So it can keep that triple DPS rolling a little bit.
For sure. And taking a peek at this Na'Vi draft now, and it's always kind of fun to watch like who's talking during the draft. And I was surprised, as soft-spoken as creative as Mutu might say even less. I don't even. It's a close race between Mutu, Spunky,
line is yes,
and creatives of who talks the least. Phoenix, we just kind of assume he spearheads a lot of the drafting just because he kind of talks the most. He's one of the more vocal players for Na'Vi. But upon further inspection, they do say that Mutu does a good bit of it, right? He talks a lot about it. I think Mutu just plays a ton of this game and is really kind of in tune with what he wants and what he thinks is going to work.
Based on that, I like to imagine that Phoenix is like giving long-winded discussions about it, and then you just hear Mutu go, Willow.
Like all this analysis, and then he's just like, no, Willow.
It's just 2 words, maybe not even, depending on how it goes. But it's looking like it's going to be Invocal on Maeve here for the Renegades, which has been a deadly combination, and Shadow on one of his signatures with Drogo. So how do you feel, I guess, about the drafts coming into this?
I actually love it. I think, I know who's playing everything. I like that Navi's kind of sticking to the guns here and going with this 3 DPS style. While it's not traditional in the sense that it has the Genos, I really think Lazy did a phenomenal job yesterday of playing those off tanks, those more aggro tanks, but as the point tank and trying to be like old Theo, you know what I mean? Hold it down with not necessarily the most ideal front lines, trying to get aggressive when it's necessary. But this is all great stuff from Na'Vi, all good stuff from the Renegades. I really, really can't wait to see this first game.
Now we just have to see if he starts flexing like Theo. Either way, it's going to be looking good here for both of these teams. Let's go ahead and jump down to the casters as we get into the first game of the set.
Thank you, Normizer, for passing that off to us. I'm constantly trying to combine names, but Nick's at the desk.
I don't know if that one works.
Dave, you're here.
I'm not buying it. I'm not buying into Normizer. Normizer, you're gonna have to sell me on a little bit more. I think. That's okay. That's okay. But maybe the weakest of the ones I've heard up. Also, I'm sad. And I'm making sure this is a few sets removed. When I said hooked on phonics, I was not just referring to you.
Right,
no,
I know.
Phonics. Right,
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm just making sure that was not lost.
Oh, okay. No, I thought you were talking about the grammar thing.
Oh, yeah. No, I was, but it wasn't just
that.
It was fun
That
and Nick.
is
It was
cool.
fun Nick.
Okay, I like
100%
that.
credit goes to Kresnik. I'm not going to be the kid who tells the joke, gets the laugh, and then claims all credit. That's all for Kresnik.
Appreciate that, Mr. Dolson. I appreciate that a lot. That was a very nice joke. But First Blood comes out on the side of Invocal, already picking off Mutu. Very well done.
Renegades, they need to be prepared for this. Natus Vincere, yesterday won all of their games where they were playing triple DPS. Maybe one of them was not a triple DPS game, and it looks like Renegades have maybe found an answer. The Drogo's so potent on this map, already coming out to play today as Invocal as well.
Yeah, they do, man. They are applying the pressure. Natus Vincere, Na'Vi already sitting on the point. They have 15%, but to Renegades 30, on top of the fact that they just got done killing 2 of their teammates, is like, that's... Man, they're doing really well right now. They're holding it. It's not over yet, but they are holding it.
Yeah, it's 60%. Renegades still on the point technically. This is going to be hard for Natus Vincere to really break through. Don't have a lot of tankiness to get you around those corners. A lot of this is on Ashe, maybe being able to shoulder bash her way in there. Lazy immediately going down. Now it's down to the triple DPS to try to retake.
Yeah, they're going to try and see if they can find their way in, but with these rockets coming out from Shadow, it's so hard. Creatives eating so much damage between him. Like, I don't even know what to say. Like, Creatives is trying to move out along with Phoenix. Spunky's trying to pop as much healing as he can, but it's not enough. Renegades caps the first point on Jaguar Falls.
Oh no, Lazy shoulder bashes his way in just for a last-ditch effort. Ends up being to his death, and that kind of shows you the the downfall of what a triple DPS brings. In
Yeah.
that you have a solo tank at that point, and Lazy's one of the best who can do it, but at 0-3, that's just kind of what you need to see. If he dies, if he gets picked first off, if Renegades identify the Ashe, get rid of the Ashe, you're hoping that Mutu creatives, they have plenty of ability to touch the point, but no staying power. At that point, with Lazy gone, there's nobody else to get in there and try to contest the point, and Renegades identified that.
Yeah, the Inflame comes through, but the shoulder bash, man, like he tries to get its way directly in there. They can't find it, and he ends up getting picked off again, but now Renegades is down their healer, but I don't even think they really care. They're moving in, they're applying so much pressure. Mutu goes down next. Spunky manages to finish off Moonchopper. He was so low already, and they already trade 1-for-1, but Renegades, man, I mean, they have 4 ultimates up, but Navi's is pretty close too. They have 3. Don't know Willow's percentage. There it is, 17.
Not
so they don't have
close.
3. Yeah, not close at all.
I mean, with a minute and 20 seconds left, this is getting into that territory where if you're the Renegades, they throw out the midnight here
my
and find the
gosh.
kill, as Lazy is not yet down from the assert dominance.
And they found another kill on the Phoenix. They're just putting this pressure onto Na'Vi. I didn't think I would say that, but they are.
No.
Renegades is doing so well against them. Another kill on Mutu as well.
And, you know, honestly, 7-game hangover, but for the Renegades, they're pumped. They win in 7 games. They have 2 wins in the PPL. One of them came yesterday. Natus Vincere, I think, would have looked at that game, happy they won, but would have thought they should have won a little bit more convincingly. So maybe a little next day hangover from those 7-game sets yesterday. Good kill by Phoenix onto Moonchopper, though, mid-Hexafire to stall out this push.
Yeah, Moonchopper got a little bit too aggressive there. He went in, used the Hexafire, but ended up getting picked off, and Vocal finds the kill on the Phoenix, though. And this, I think, we're underappreciating it a little bit. Can we see, like, Maeve's score, or at least her damage, or, like, one of the two? Because it's like, she's, like, all the way at the top. I've been seeing these picks just come out one after the other, and now Lazy's getting collapsed on by the rest of Renegades, man. I don't know what's happening, but they're pushing in so hard. Phoenix is about to go down again, has to go behind the pillar to try and give himself some cover, but it's not enough. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and that nets them the point. 2-0 for Renegades already.
And Vocal is firing on every single cylinder. He's a V8 engine today, and all 8 are pumping right now. And honestly, like I said, they've identified it where maybe it's just the way the fight plays out, but getting rid of Lazy is so important in a triple DPS composition. I mean, if you are able to weather the storm, I mean, it's kind of a 2-pronged attack where Hero at 4-1 and 10 is able to stay alive. They're buying a lot of blast shields as well. Only 3 at level 1, so I wouldn't say a lot. Maybe I changed my phrasing on that, but they have some for a little bit of extra staying power here. And then getting rid of Lazy as well, all of that is just kind of culminating into the wings per se, with you have Evie and Willow on the opposite side, a little clipped. I mean, 1 in 5 for the Willow, 1 in 5 for Phoenix. I mean, the triple DPS is literally just not up enough to do any DPS. The Renegades have just found such a good answer to it. They've gotten Lazy effectively out of this game. Natus Vincere need more than just creatives to start killing.
Man, the Ultra coming one after the other. I heard the Inflame. They popped it. Mutu finds a double kill. This might be their chance to actually start waking up. Now they're going after Moonchopper. Mutu doesn't find the kill, but he does do the damage. Phoenix finishes it off. Creatives kills Hero, and Vocal being one of the only people, I believe, that got to kill that fight. And now the rest of Na'Vi are pretty much just they're running them down now. It's the turns. The tables have turned. I almost said the turns have tabled.
How the turntables. That's a great quote from The Office. So
True,
it wouldn't
yeah.
have been bad if you had
True.
said that. At 74% with fast cap, Natus Vincere in a great spot here. And this is hard for the Renegades to retake. There's so much zoning capability from Natus Vincere. Lazy first to go down yet again, but Natus Vincere still on the point.
Yeah, we see that there's 2 for 2 trade, but it seems like 3 of the individuals in Renegades are down. Viral being one of the only ones that's in that small room right there. It's not going to be enough. Moonchopper, the last one alive, ice block to prevent itself from getting too much damage onto him, and they do manage to cap the point.
And that is a good example of where in a triple DPS composition, even if your main tank goes down, especially with the Furia as your healer. Okay, so 1 in 5. Let me digress from my point. Phoenix was 1 in 5 going into that mid fight. He's now 4 in 5. Mutu was, I think, 1 in 5 as well, and he's now 5 and 7. So over the course of that last mid, 4 kills, 2 deaths, 3 kills, 1 death for Phoenix. So that's what you need a little bit more of. I mean, especially with Furia as a healer, you're kind of in these 1v1 duels. You're kind of self-sustaining a little bit a lot of the time. And that just was not happening for Natus Vincere at the beginning of this game. finally starting now. Hats off to Viral. I mean, effectively doubling up the healing of Spunky on the opposite side, and this is where the Renegades will maybe draw that line in the sand and keep Natus Vincere from pushing too far forward.
Yeah, for sure. They are trading 1-for-1. We're seeing Moonchopper go in. He wants to get lazy, but assert dominance to follow through. Just pretty much watching that felt like a bait almost. It was like Lazy was standing out in front of him. As soon as the dash came through from Moonchopper, just up and over immediately. The assert dominance, keeping himself alive. But now the rest of Renegades does end up finding their momentum. They do get the kills they need to start pushing forward, though.
I'm actually surprised to see Renegades kind of winning the last end of that fight. I mean, Moonchopper went, he went deep. He went about as far back as you could. Luckily, didn't use the Hexafire. That's a moment where I maybe fat finger my ult, like prepping to use it, and then I die anyway the moment it comes out. So they still have the Hexafire at about a minute left. Renegades will have everything up and ready for the next mid-fight. So what you want to do now is ideally just find a pick, maybe pick off one person. Getting rid of Spunky is honestly maybe the best you can do here if you're the Renegades. Flight, though, from Willow. Natus Vincere are going to look to push this in and tie this up.
Yeah, they are. Heard the zoo time and space to try and see if they can get a pick. Renegades wanted something, but they didn't find anything. But what they do find in place of that are 1 kill. But meanwhile, Navi have just killed 3. Actually 4. Shadow's down 2, and Viral's down, and the whole team's down. I might as well just keep going, considering the fact that they keep killing individuals. Now Hero running out, trying to contest. Don't know if it's going to be enough, and it's not. Navi do push that in. 2 ultimates up for them, the Scout and the Ice Storm.
Yeah, I mean, Scout is sort of neither here nor there.
Right,
but that's a value trade, absolutely. I mean, Flight, that's an aggressive ultimate. The moment that came out, you have to know they're looking to use it. And I said that Mutu needed to perform better going into these mid-fights, and he did just that. I mean, to harp on it again, he was 1-5 going into this fight right here that you were seeing the replay of. He went 4-2, I believe it was, over the course of the next few minutes. So while that's not an absurd slash line, he was providing a lot of what his team needed, and trading out a kill there, helping Phoenix clean up Shadow, so important. Actually gets a kill with some of those remaining seedlings on the ground after he had died. And Vocal's trying to hold things in the balance as best as he can. He's been so consistent, always is so consistent. The KDA monster, as Nick pointed out. Natus Vincere have seemingly started to figure it out. Once Mutu, once Phoenix, once Creative really started to be able to play almost on their own. That's a bit of an overstatement, but once they started to fire on their own cylinders, Natus Vincere tilted things back in their favor.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we see that the Midnight goes through. They want to start the fight. The Scout to counter Midnight so they make sure they can actually see everything, see all the individuals on Renegade's side. The Rockets are coming out. The only 2 ultimates that were used, though, were Midnight and were the Scout, but we're seeing the kills coming up blue. That Midnight being just countered by the Scout. Doing really well. Man, they are just getting wiped right now. And Shadow being the last one alive, the rest of Natus Vincere, they see him, they want him, they get him. Shadow's down, now 33% on the point for them. And now it's gonna grant them the momentum they need.
And down goes Lazy into the assert dominance. They do not want to let Renegades get out of their base at all. All of the dismounts at 66%. Almost looking dire for Renegades to even get back and maybe get a touch on this. Flight as well from Mutu is going to stall things out for the Renegades even more.
I mean, it's just they're firing on all cylinders here. They had the Willow ult. They popped the End Flame right when they needed to. Shadow's trying to go in. Can't find it. 3 individuals of Renegades go down alone. Double kill for Mutu, and that's going to net them the point. The 3rd point on the Jaguar Falls.
And that's a little bit of a last-ditch effort. That last wipe, the Renegades kind of just had to go in one after another. But you look at the way the ults were saved, kind of that ult economy, if you will. Towards the end of that last round, they used the Flight. I believe they used Inflame from Fury as well, but they saved the Ice Storm, they saved the Scout. And honestly, that's what Phoenix will look to do, because Jaguar Falls is the type of map where you're going to kind of know where everyone is. You not only pick Cassie here because Phoenix is so good on Cassie, but the ultimate just counters out the ultimate that Maeve brings. And Phoenix is just going to hold his ultimate until Maeve pops her ultimate every single time, especially right here as Natus Vincere are rounding the corner. This goes in. They already win game number 1.
Yeah, through time and space tries to find somebody. Can't find it. The Dragon Punch comes through as well. He's trying to move as best as he can. Wow. The ice block just in the right time, but at the same time, Dragon Punch had just ran out. Don't know if he actually would have been able to make it there. Do you think he would have been able to do that? I don't know if that would have actually
close.
hit.
I'm not sure, though. It would have been close.
Yeah, definitely would have been close. Shadow's super low, though. Speaking of close, his health bar looking pretty close to death right there. He's having to stay behind these walls, stay up in the high grounds, in the trees to make sure that he actually can't get killed. Mutu in the back line. Now, Navi has a minute 15 left on the clock. They're going to wait back a little bit. They're not going to push forward yet, but they're going to start slowly doing it once their team comes back.
And Renegades are actually both teams in a weird way. Renegades are in an awkward spot because your ultimates, you're going to have a couple towards the end of this. You have to use them to prevent this from going in because you're going to lose if you don't. That might put you at a disadvantage. Lazy, though, is trying to get things started. The Hexafire to counter out the Assert Dominance, but he gets 0 value out of it. And Vocal finding Phoenix, a great way to start off for the Renegades.
There we go. Moonchopper's trying to pressure in. He's trying to get Lazy. Shoulder Bash to come through. Those headshots did a little bit of damage, about 53 from what I saw, but thanks to Shoulder Bash. I don't know if she's taking that, but I don't know if she has the damage reduction on Shoulder Bash. I can't imagine that she would. She's probably taking the shot one, the one where she
Kinetic Burst?
Kinetic Burst, yes, that one. Wait, that is.
Are you talking about the knockback?
No. I'm talking about the shot with the talent. The talent, the one that does more damage.
Shot.
Yeah, there we go. That's the one I'm talking about. See, I'm here. I'm casting. I know what it is I'm talking about after asking for 5 million years, but it's okay because we finally got it. 10 seconds left on the clock. They're gonna try and push in. Natus Vincere, 3 ultimates online. Yep. Yeah, her show them no mercy, and I'm pretty sure that Natus Vincere, mercy is not in their name. He's chasing him. He can't make it out. Mutu gets run down by Shadow. Nicely done. They might actually be able to win this through time and space comes through. They can't find the kill, but they do find 2 in the form of Mutu, not in the form of Mutu, in the form of Invocal and Shadow. They find a 4-man wipe, and because of that, they do defend. The score is now 3-3 with Renegade.
I mean, that is Shadow taking the team under his wing, literally. The Dragon Punch onto a perfect target. Mutu has really come alive in these last few rounds and really made life hell for the Renegades. Phoenix as well, though, you can't forget. If it's not one, it's the other right now for Natus Vincere. And Phoenix, you think of him as this aggressive off-tank. Can't forget about his Cassie. For whatever reason, he loves this champion. He's great on this champion. When Mike was filling in for Natus Vincere, Phoenix was playing Cassie. At 9 and 10, not the cleanest, most beautiful slash line, but he's doing important damage, and I think that's what I look at. Of course, Creatives topping the damage chart. And Vocal and Shadow are really keeping this in the balance. Lazy has done a good job being the solo tank, getting 67,000 damage as well. This final mid-fight, Renegades are no strangers to .7s, game 7s, whatever it may be. This is huge for them if they're able to take game number 1.
Yeah, they definitely want to go for Phoenix, though, and they do find it. I saw them just flooding. Look at Renegade. Look at all the red. They're flooding that room completely, and they get 3 kills because of that. A double for Hero, 1 for Shadow, 1 for Invocal. The only one it is that's missing is their healer now that's not on the kill feed.
He's okay. He's sitting back. He's healing. He's giving people astral marks, and that's all he needs to do. 4 streaked out members of the Renegades. They're eclipsing 51% here. This could end the game if they're not able to get in and get a touch. This is where Lazy is so important. He has to get in there and contest. He's already down to half health. He has the Assert Dominance, which is going to be so impactful here towards the end of this game.
He's going to have to use it now. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. He has to use it. The darkness comes through. Phoenix does not have his ultimate, though. They cannot see. Creatives finds a kill onto Viral. That's going to be enough. Moonchopper stuck in the wall. Can't really get out of that situation. He's in the corner. Invocal finds a kill on Mutu. Lazy's trying to live. Shoulder Bash comes through. And really, this fight is looking for Navi right now.
God, Lazy was just able to stay alive for so long. Finally, Invocal drops him off, but Phoenix is still here. Phoenix is firing away. Overtime's going to expire, but Natus Vincere are the ones on the point. They're now the ones climbing up. Renegades really used their ultimates first, which allowed them to win that initial engagement. Natus Vincere answered back. 72% for them. Dragon Punch, Hexafire for the Renegades, only in flame for Na'Vi. It's going to come down to the wire.
Here we go. They have to use everything it is. They've got Shadow going in. He's moving. The smoothment. He manages to catch Phoenix. Creatives goes down as well. The Hexafire. The Inflame. They do it. They kill 3. Lazy's the last one on the point, and that is it. Renegades captures the first game on Jaguar Falls.
I don't believe you.
Neither do I. Neither do I. Look at him. He's popping off. He knows. He's like, let's go.
I mean, this is a different Renegades. Honestly, I mean, we were a little wary because it is the same way that technically they started the last split. They beat Kanga, and then things kind of went downhill. But this is a Renegades that are still riding high from a win last night. They get the 7-game win. They get themselves back in the winning column here in the PPL. And now this is even more momentum. They're proving this is a proving week, not only to all of us, but to them that they belong here. They can beat a lot of these teams. In game 1, I mean, a composition that beat Envy kind of thoroughly yesterday, that triple DPS composition. Renegades found an answer, and they found a win. It's pretty crazy. Got a new Renegades on the slate here now.
Now, that's what I like to see. Renegades playing their hearts out. The thing is that now that they have the first game, we're going to see if they can actually take it over Na'Vi? I really can't believe myself.
seven.
We're going game 7. That's what I like to hear. Now stay tuned. After break, we're immediately going to come right back. Don't go yet.
The Paladins Premier League is brought to you by Evil Mojo, developers of Paladins.
Well, Renegades are here to play. As it turns out, a lot is going different than what I thought. I never thought I'd put Renegades in my win column in a match against Na'Vi, but I've had to do it today, so it's changing things up here for Split 2. And that one was pretty interesting because while Renegades played pretty consistently, I think the one thing I noticed throughout that game is that Mutu, when he was playing and hitting, kills after kills, and his impact was notable, Na'Vi are winning. When he wasn't there and he was non-existent, Renegades took it.
Yeah, he is one of the main roster block DPS players for Na'Vi. So this 3 DPS composition is going to live and die a little bit by the performances of the main DPS. I don't put as much pressure to perform on Phoenix as I probably would onto Mutu or Creatives. At this stage of the game, like when you look at Fnatic, right, you kind of put pressure on Bugsy and Tenor and Fasheko in that old roster. Everybody needed to kind of show up for that to work. And that's pretty core. And you look at a dude like an Invokal, and this storyline just keeps on trucking, man. This guy's KD is just crazy at all stages, win or loss, close or a blowout, whether he's, getting blown out of the water 4-0, he still manages to just get it done and stay alive while he's doing it.
And he was one of the reasons Mutu was having some struggles overall. He put a lot of pressure onto the backline playing this Maeve. It's probably one of the most comfortable champions we've seen him on this year now as she's come into the meta. And there were so many moments where it's this, no one
sheesh, dude,
ever gets back into your backline like that on Jack Falls. I don't know where they were looking, what they were hoping for, but...
Dude, he missed one pair of daggers in that entire reel. I mean, come on. Mechanically, he is just up there with the best of them now. You really can't beat around the bush any longer. The storyline of this kid is just, no matter the situation, he just frags out, and it's continuing here. You saw it in the replay. He's getting into the backline. He's assassinating people.
Yeah.
It's young, hot talent, baby. Ravies was not wrong when he said it, man. This guy has really lived up, I think, to his reputation on any team that he's been on. This was the same thing on SK all those years ago. Yeah. He was still doing this.
And it's just that impact, again, where it's just like, you know what? If Hero has a good game, then we definitely win. If Shadow has a good game, we definitely win. Otherwise... Invokal
pretty much just has good games
on his own. Yeah, he is one consistent that they've always had. I think Viral could maybe go under that, but of course Viral's not getting 20 kills and 2 deaths every game. Viral's
very hard to
pumping out some good healing.
Very hard to carry a PPL game on support for sure. It happens. Don't get me wrong. It happens. Those guys have at least moments, I would say, that supports can hard win the fight.
Yeah.
But it's pretty hard to carry it front to back, especially on a character like Genos. He is there to pretty much just give you damage amp and healing. He's not there to take over the game. No support really is.
Well, last time that was Jaguar Falls picked by Na'Vi. Ice Mines is a notorious Renegades map as it came through. It was one of the maps that they were... When they weren't winning sets, this was the only one they were really consistently winning as it came through. So being able to come here once again and watching Willow get banned away with the way things have been going, after Mutu's performance on it, are they really scared of Renegades having that, or do they just not want themselves to?
I think it's solid on Ice Mines for sure because for anyone, I think anybody can really play. I don't personally think Willow's a very difficult character, to be honest with you, and I think she works very well on Ice Mines because you got like 3 ways you can get into the point zone, and Willow has 3 big, very impactful, long cooldown zoning type abilities, so she can really cover all of her bases very, very effectively. Whether or not Shadow would go to that, I'm not quite sure. He hasn't shown great propensity to want to do so. On top of the fact that he's one of the only guys running Bomb King so far. You know, there's very few games played at this point, but he is one of those mainstay Bomb Kings. Drogo's very impactful on this map as well. He played very, very well in that character yesterday, so he might be leaning that way. The Willow ban is a little confusing.
They have been leaning pretty heavily on Ashe Cassie when they're trying to run this triple DPS. And yesterday was an interesting concept because not only was it weird to see Na'Vi running a bunch of triple DPS, but when they ran the standard composition they're known for with the double frontline, double DPS, one support, it just was not enough to beat Envy. It was playing Envy at the game that they've been playing for, a year, 2 years now, essentially, as they've been going for. So looking at this now, Ashe Cassie is like another good start for them to potentially go to that triple DPS, but Renegades are just kind of showcasing that they don't care if you want to go triple DPS.
Yeah, they're going hard for it too. Na'Vi are really kind of making no mistake about it. They're really showing that this is kind of the strategy they want to lean towards. Now, they could easily transition this one. Cassie and Ashe, while a part of that 3 DPS comp from last game, could very easily turn into Damba and Nara, you know what I mean? And then you've got standard Na'Vi there again. But with such a good record, I don't know. I think Na'Vi definitely have some elbow room to kind of like do that, you know what I mean? Just to run whatever they want for a while and try and practice something. This is a team that likely already has their sights set on Worlds, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're so far ahead of the pack and they want to put themselves in the best position possible, when that time comes around. They're gonna be there. They're gonna be top 4. I don't see a timeline where Na'Vi are knocked down to 5th place.
I mean, they've lost one map to Renegades. I didn't see a timeline where that would happen. Maybe
True.
One day we could see what happens. I mean, at this point, based on 21 games yesterday and now the 7 that have been played today, I could argue the Premier League has gotten more competitive as time has gone on. Like, the end of the first split, you started to kind of see the patterns, but they started to get broken towards weeks 12, weeks 13. And so now we're starting to shake it up even more for the first week. Granted, it's still just the first week, but it's anybody can win.
Yes, that was a long day yesterday, but it's better than just blowout city. You know what I mean? Sweep weeks, they get a little boring, they get a little dry. You almost don't even want to turn up to watch those types of games in a lot of cases, because you just know the way that they're going to go. Or maybe you turn up to watch the first map and a half and you say, okay, all right, this is gonna happen this way again. So I'm thankful, frankly, for the competitiveness of this league. Top 4 in Phase 1 were extremely close. I think 5 and 6 could have taken games off of top 4 in certain situations. If we get to a timeline where the Knights and the Renegades are also competitive with the rest of the pack, and we got all 8 teams really kind of going at each other's throats every single week, that's a gift, man. That's something not a lot of leagues in sports or esports have to be thankful for.
Well, the last pick here is going to be Ying to close out Navi's draft, and that's with Maldamba and Furia both available right now. Do you like the jump to the Ying immediately, or do you think they maybe could have pulled out like Spunky's signature for Maldamba?
I actually think with all the CC that they've got currently, not going into Maldamba is good. Also on Ice Mines, being able to Illusory Rift out of spawn and just yeet cross map is the coolest thing in Paladins I think that a support can do. It's only been done like once or twice, I think, but it's something to think about for sure. But I think the core of why they go Ying is obviously they don't want to go too into CC because they'll be very, very counterable and they won't have much of a team fight late game.
Well, we get the Victor Pip combo on the other side. Na'Vi going back to their traditional standard composition. Let's see if they can take this one back or if Renegades keep control.
Thank you so much, Gore, for that little pass right there. Ice Mines is the map for Game 2. Yeah, I kind of like Navi's team. I'm normally a fan of their compositions, to be fair.
Well, Combustible Drogos, very strong on this map. Going big game as well here for, I would assume, that is Mutu on the opposite side, giving creatives the Combustible Drogos. Pip is such a Honestly, in a way, it's like it's not necessarily game losing. There's always going to be a set amount of presence, I think, that a Pip can have. But potentially game winning. We haven't seen Pip out of Shadow very much. You know, he's a Drogos, Eevee, every once in a while Mave type player. So getting to see how he performs on this Pip, I mean, this is a great map for Pip. It's a great map for Drogos. Victor as well, lots of good opportunities for Barrage. This is going to be a fun one. I like both teams' drafts, honestly, at this point. The frontline battle is maybe where this one actually starts to even out.
Yeah, Renegades holding this upper bridge. What you would expect. Nice awareness by Shadow and by Hero. They were actually able to get 2 kills off earlier on. And because of that, the rest of Natus Vincere are actually going to fall. Dave,
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm very interested, honestly, in that Mutu is the one. Maybe I shouldn't be. There's maybe some history here that I'm not privy to, but Mutu's the one playing the Drogos. Creatives is the one playing the Cassie. And it's less creatives. I mean, I know creatives can play Cassie. I know Mutu can play Cassie as well. I would just assume that creatives would be a better Drogos, but not the case this time around as creatives. Tumble rolls in, but still 2 traded out for the Renegades.
Both Lazy and Mutu both go down. They lost 2 members of their team, while Renegades only lost 1. Now Lazy's next on the menu. Phoenix is next on the menu, actually. Phoenix is the one playing the Ashe. He goes down as well. I mean, man, Renegades actually is on it. Cassie is the next to go down. Creatives, currently 2 of their members are respawning. Navi's got to make it back if they want to contest, but I don't even know if they're going to be able to, especially not on Ice Mines.
No, Ice Mines, I mean, the fact that you get 2 chances to come back into it is honestly more than we'd ever really expect to see. The 3 core members there, I said that this might balance out in some of the front lines, and Phoenix, the poor guy, he has walked into the fight and immediately died both times in this game, but pause all of that. And Vocal at 23,000 damage is doubling up everyone in this game. He has more damage by 2-fold than everyone else. That's what you get with Victor. Good, consistent, long-range damage. And Vocal's a guy who can pilot that to the moon. And he's doing so well right now, and he's setting up Renegades for a lot of success.
Yeah, he is. 1:50
Well,
left on the
never
clock.
mind.
Well, unfortunately, despite Invoco doing as good as he possibly can, he does go down. The first one to go down, that little skirmish, Moonchopper's next. Now the rest of Renegades is going to have to back off, but that knockback from Fire Spit, man, thanks to Combustible, it's going to be a lot for them to deal with. The wall comes through. They're going to try and delay Barrick's his death just a little bit. They want to stagger him. They don't want his team to be able to have that access to him anymore. Hero's down for 4 more seconds, and here comes the through time and space. I think it found somebody.
It may be connected with a little bit of health.
Right, yeah, not very
kills.
much. Yeah, not very much on the side of that from Renegades, but Invocal does find a double kill. He's already back. You were saying it yourself, man. Like, he's setting his team up for success right now with all these kills. Priority picks, too.
And, you know, normally it's kind of a mirror matchup in a way, if you bear with me. I mean, you have a Cassie on one side, a Victor on the other. They're going to play similarly, hang back a little bit, and try to hit their shots as best as they can. A little bit easier, a little bit more consistent. Evil Mojo, though, that comes out already from Shadow. Finds 2, but only turns 1 into a kill.
Yeah, and they do trade out Shadow for that Mutu below the bridge. He ends up the Dragon Punch. The movement comes through. Sorry, that's not what I say. The movement comes through from Mutu. He does find the kill onto Hero, and Vocal does kill their healer, though. That's going to mean a lot for them. Now they're just trying to rush him, but good. You see how Moonchopper dropped down immediately to help out Invocal. They need to get a kill on him. They do, but Moonchopper kills Lazy in response. I mean,
it's really good value from the seismic crash, but the follow-up wasn't immediately there from Natus Vincere. Moonchopper is going to get staggered, and this is where this map gets punishing. He is back up now. He won't be back in time to even get a touch. I think this is a successful Natus Vincere hold here, and it's just on the back. They spend the seismic crash for it. No Evil Mojo, notably. Overpowered Dome Shield Barrage. I think very game-changing. Only Scout and Illusory Rift will be ready for Natus Vincere, but if you look at immediate ultimate advantage, Renegades have it, and if Invocal's able to sit back and free fire in the same way that he was this last round, then honestly they're going to win this next mid-fight. Can't say Invocal without giving a little tip of the cap to their frontliners. Moonchopper opens up so much space. You look at how much attention is being paid to this con right now, and in the meantime there's Shadow jumping around on the pip, and look at that, Invocal. He doesn't even have to move left or right now. He's just free firing out of that window. So while he's making good of the space that he's gotten, he has the most damage in the game. You have to give props to the people that kind of wedge their way through, open up that space for him. That's Moonchopper. That's Hero in this case. They're controlling the front lines and honestly giving Invocal the tools, giving him the space to succeed in this game.
There you go. The damage is coming through, and you mentioned it before, and that's still the case now. The Invocal's at the very top of the charts, but I digress. The Dome Shield goes down. The Overpower does not go through. They are trying to fight out for this team fight right now, though. Hero's being forced to back off a little bit. Natus Vincere, they ended up pushing them all the way back, and now we see that Moonchopper's in a bad spot. Can't defend from both directions. The body block coming through from Phoenix. He can't get back. They do break his shield, and they do find the kill onto him finally.
And this is where this map is unforgiving in the wrong way. Renegades used their ultimates, but they just weren't as effective. You literally miss Overpower.
Oh!
That's a beautiful snipe, though, from Viral. Makes some good on his ultimate. 3 kills for Renegades, and Invocal adds a 4th.
Man.
Now they've retaken with only 30% for Natus Vincere. You would hope that you get more than 30% with a team fight win like they had.
Dude, that hit 3 people. Kill 2, I believe. Kill 1.
Set up the second.
It set up the second and the third. That was just so well done by Renegades, man. Such a beautiful through time and space
Viral
in that
has it in
choke
him.
point. He definitely does. Invocal being forced to back off from these rockets, though. But they're in such a good spot, 72%. Man, this new Renegade.
Oh, no.
I was just about to give them compliments, but then he just
the
got knocked off the
disengage.
point. Yeah, the disengage.
Oh,
man.
that's
It
not
was-
where you want to stand with the Cassie in the opposite side. You hate that. Now it's honestly
man.
down to Shadow to turn this one around, and Vocal's going to be coming back, but a good Evil Mojo needs to turn this around.
Oh, there it is. The Evil Mojo does hit. He gets lazy. That is huge for Renegades. Mutu's in the stuck in the. Oh, wow. The Void Grip came through. Kept him pinned right there. The double kill for Shadow. Man, oh, man. Who is this new Renegades right now?
I'm not sure who it is. They're definitely not the same ones that we saw last
Oh,
split,
yeah.
though. Beautiful play from the Renegades that time around. Honestly, Natus Vincere had every opportunity to seal up that mid fight. They won the initial engagement. Overpower missed. Barrage, the cooldown was reset. Didn't use all of his barrages, if I remember correctly. Evil Mojo wasn't ready through time and space. Obviously wasn't until the second retake attempt. Natus Vincere had every opportunity to win that heavily and zone out. But the Renegades, they outplay the moment. They wait till their ultimates come back up. You have to give props to Viral there. Turns that around. Seismic Crash, though. They're not wanting to give Renegades any space.
Oh, Vocal's the first one to go down. That's going to be a big detriment to them, especially Lazy's the next one to get melted, but not before Creatives picks up his own double kill. Finds 2. Viral's looking next on the menu, and that's going to force both Viral and Moonchopper to back up, but now Navi can start their push forward.
If you're the Renegades, I mean, Ice Mind is a weird dance in that you're okay to... You sort of honestly, almost in a way, concede, like, this is just a hard map to push on. If you get this in, if you're the Renegades, it's now 3-1. I believe that was Overpower that, again, did not net a kill. Not necessarily detrimental at this point. That'll be up and ready for cooldown. Likely Natus Vincere setting themselves up for successful defense here. Renegades maybe just charging their ultimates, trying to get ready for the next mid. But that's actually kind of to my point. I think the Renegades are okay leaving these defenses on the table. Of course you want to push it in. Of course you want to be up 3-1 here, but your mid fight has looked so much better. I'm okay if I'm any of the guys on the Renegades right now. I'm saying we have cleaned up these mid fights, honestly, with relative ease. If this goes to a 3-3, I'm feeling confident.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that too. I feel like their ultimates, just their placement has such an impact in their team fights. Speaking of an impact, now that Phoenix is gone, they're going to be able to move in onto Creatives. They find that kill, they get it. Lazy is looking next on the menu. He's stuck in there. He can't get out, and the rest of them just pretty much just wipe him out. Now Renegades can slowly push their way back, and since they're going to be able to do that, 30 seconds left. The point is being contested, but not anymore. Now they can finally push this payload.
Now, Ice Mines can be it's a long map, but it can be a short map. This payload can get moving. It depends where Natus Vincere kind of draw their line in the snow, per se. If they kind of wrap around here to the side, the overtime is going to start when it's around this final corner. Likely will anyway, just because of the speed of the payload, but really where it stops, I guess is going to be right here. Lazy getting very aggressive. If Shadow goes down, this almost certainly spells doom for the push. He's able to get out, get himself some healing.
Yeah.
That Seismic Crash, no, not up just yet. He was Void Gripped up in the air. Looked like he was getting himself ready for a Seismic Crash. Does not come through that time, though.
Oh, they get a kill on Invocal, and the Shadow might be next. Nice movement. Smoothment. Sorry, I'm going to keep using that, coining my term. I'm going to beat that joke until it's dead for the most part. But regardless, the point is that they do get the kill onto Invocal. He manages to back himself out of that. Shadow has to move away from that position. It's going to force them to get 2-2. But like you said, watching this, seeing how Renegades is playing now, I think that if it does go to a 3-3, like you said, I feel pretty confident for them to be able to push it forward.
Natus Vincere just need to find a way to make Invocal honestly uncomfortable, and it's hard because you have Shadow with the constant AoE threat up in front of you. The frontliners of the Renegades are just doing a little bit more damage. I mean, it's a Barrack Khan with a Genos boost, and you are an Nara and an Ashe trying to go toe-to-toe with that while you also have a free-firing Victor in the backline. That Genos boost, I mean, it's a statement that does not need to be made. You know what it does, and you know why people pick it. But Barrack already kind of out-bullies in a Nara in a lot of situations. Khan does as well. Ashe can hold her own. But that Genos boost on a Barrack, that Genos boost on a Khan, not to mention an Invocal free-firing in the backline, has just allowed the frontliners of the Renegades so much more space. Dragon Punch, though, that can just eliminate somebody, and he finds Invocal.
Yeah, he does. He found the double kill actually for himself. Might end up being a triple. Not a triple, but they do get 3 of them that are gone. Hero's left on the point alone. Nice dash away. He's trying his best to keep himself alive as much as he can. Hero goes down last, and now they're going to be in control of the point. But 48% on the point for Renegades, though.
Renegades just were not able to use any of their ultimates there. First pop goes the way of Natus Vincere, Seismic Crash, Dragon Punch, or Illusory Rift. I believe Scout even maybe was used, all off the board, and that's that Nick Tistic that Nick loves. The first team to swing their ultimates oftentimes wins. Shadow with a great chance to make some change. Oh, the CC immunity blocks it out. That timing, so unfortunate for the Renegades. That's a big ultimate off the board.
It is, and now Moonchopper that went down. Nice Void Grip, but he just does it again. Doesn't matter. Shadow got a little bit too. Oh, wait, a quadra kill coming out from Creatives. Will he get the Penta? Let him have it, boys, please. Hero's the last one left alive, but it doesn't even matter. They end up killing him off. The spray goes down. Creatives deserves it. Good job coming out from them, and they're going to be able to cap this point now.
Oh, so important. I mean, Lazy at 4-10 has not had a great game up to this point. Like I said, he's kind of being out-bullied by what the Renegades are bringing. He's holding his own, but just those little min plays, the min-max plays, as Evan would like to call them, the CC immunity goes up, the Evil Mojo goes into it, but nothing happens because of the CC immunity. And that's a huge ultimate. I mean, it's an ultimate with the potential to entirely turn a game around. Honestly, I think that retake was entirely contingent on being able to just tilt things 4v5 in favor of the Renegades. They've won so many of these mid-fights, just eliminating somebody from Natus Vincere, just giving themselves an edge in one aspect, whether it's one less frontliner, one less damage dealer. And that time around, nothing. You would hope that an Evil Mojo would give you something, but they were not able to find anything that time around.
Yeah, it's going to be a hard-fought battle, at least for Navi. They're trying to push this payload as far as they can. They've gotten a pretty good ways of the way, though, for there being a minute 30 left onto the clock. They have 3 ultimates online, really 2, one defensive, one aggressive ultimate. Since Lazy went down, he won't be able to have the Seismic Crash, but Hero and Invocal both get kills of their own. They're looking at Ashe now, forcing her all the way back. Phoenix goes down next, double kill for Invocal, and now Renegades is slowly going to be able to fight back with their 4 ultimates online.
I'm going to push it right on through. I'm actually kind of thinking back to that last mid-fight as well, and Creatives with a massive quadra kill. If that should put to bed any questions you had about him on the Cassie and Mutu on the Drogos instead. There's just, it was honestly the same as what Invocal has been given on the Renegades, just free time and space in the backline to just pour out damage. And that's why I say they kind of fill a similar role in that if you give a Victor time and room to just hang back and free fire on you, that's what's going to happen. That's what has happened. And that they allowed Cassie, they allowed Creatives to just kind of hang back in that hallway. Lots of grouped up members of the Renegades. He makes good on the shots and turns that fight around as well. Illusory Rift from Natus Vincere. Interesting timing. Viral, another snipe, drops Creatives. With 25 seconds left, this is likely going to go to overtime.
Yeah, that's going to be really good for them to at least have one member down on Ice Mines so far apart. It's going to take Creatives a long time to get back to point. Lazy's currently engaged in a fight with Hero, and Vocal goes down. These two fighting on the side a little bit. Shadow comes up to help him, though. They want to make sure they can at least get Lazy. Don't shield drop. They want this kill. They do not want them to be able to push it in. Dragon Punch comes through, kills Hero. And because of that, there's going to force an overtime, but the payload's inching ever so closer.
Oh, Shadow being able to answer back onto Lazy is so huge here. He has Evil Mojo. He does not want to have to use this. This payload is going to honestly inch in. He has to use Evil Mojo, gets it onto one. He gets a kill onto Phoenix, but is it enough?
Oh, yeah, it might be, Dave, because of the fact that Hero and Invoker got 2 kills. They do get what they need to, and now we are looking at a 3-3. If Renegades can take this over, and it's 2-0.
Name a better duo than Renegades and .7s. Because honestly, I can't. I think back to a game against NIP that they had. They lost the set 4-0, but like every single game was 4-3.
Yeah.
It was absurd. This is where Creative starts to pop off a little bit, and this is a perfect example. Nobody is paying attention to him right now. The rest of the team, oh my.
Wow,
Natus
that was
dominance
huge.
cannot be understated. Stuns up 3, and Creatives cleans up the rest of it, and that's why I say that, you know, Creatives with the big kill, but you cannot understate the frontliners, the space opening, the beautiful ultimates that bring them to that position.
Yeah.
And that's something that can go unnoticed. And in absurd, honestly, assert dominance locks down 3 members of Renegades, and good Creatives positioning puts them in position, of course, to capitalize on that. Now you look, this final point gets him with the assert dominance.
Good job. He ended up using the overpower. He got Phoenix at the last, not the last possible second, but he did get him. He was looking for an ultimate, immediately scored it, and now we're going to see Renegades start to push in. The percentage is steadily piling for them. Na'Vi actually being forced a little bit back away from the point.
No teams have anything. Dragon Punch is going to be back. Through time and space is up as well. It's going to be whichever one of those ultimates is able to find a pick, honestly, might end this game. Creative's dropping Shadow. That's an awkward spot. Renegades have 72%, and he gets the kill on the Spunky.
Oh my gosh, man. Viral. So good. He pops the Dragon Punch while Hero's already low, but they need the kill at this point. They're just going straight for Invocal. They don't even want to deal with it anymore. The movement from Viral, though, he gets a kill onto Mutu with Renegade. Stop. Stop it right now. Renegades 2-0 over Na'Vi?
I'm still asleep from last night. We were here so late last night that I'm still asleep, still dreaming, because this is a new Renegades. I seriously think, in a weird way, I mean, might be denied, I might be overthinking it because I've never been in this position. Na'Vi go 7 games in a set that they expect to win in less than 7 games. Renegades go 7 games and finally come out with the win. The weight's off their shoulders. The sky's the limit for these guys now. They have a rejuvenated sense. Finally, all this hard work is starting to pay off. They still have 2 games to go. We've seen Na'Vi nearly reverse sweep Envy. They go down 3-1 to Envy and then win 3 straight. Certainly not out of it now, but the Renegades, they're forced to be reckoned with.
Oh, yeah. We're definitely seeing this new Renegades come to fruition here during the second phase of Paladins Premier League. Never thought I would say they were up 2-0 against Na'Vi, but it's not done yet. Na'Vi still has plenty of chances to come back. Stay tuned after this break to find out what happens.
Respawn, the official gaming chair of the Paladins Premier League.
We get down to the beat, y'all. We get down to the beat, y'all. We get down to the beat, y'all. It's like we're not going anywhere. Maybe it's because there's something in the air. And I don't even care, no, I don't even care anymore. It's like we're losing all track of time. I just got one thing on my mind.
Well, they do it once, they do it twice. Renegades now are finding themselves in a position I don't know that I've ever actually seen them in. They're up 2-0 on a team right now, and it's
less
very
Na'Vi.
reminiscent of, you know, that set they had against NIP towards the latter half of Split 1, where it's like it's a bunch of 4-3s, they're going the distance. This time they're actually getting the 4s that they were missing then.
Never been a reverse sweep in the PPL. If the Renegades win one more, they would put themselves up 3-0 and statistically would be unable to lose that set at that point. They are getting very, very close to critical mass. Speaking of, 143,000 damage for Invoco. Dear God, that's a lot.
It's a
But
That's a number.
that's what the boy
It's a big
does.
number.
I think that's just what the boy does at this point.
I actually think the biggest thing, not only in Vocal, like, I mean, he's been very, very big. I love the fact that Shadow went from, they were hovering Bomb King for a little bit towards the end of the draft, and then they switched over to the
Yeah,
Pip. I
that's
think that
pretty
was
big.
probably one of the best calls that they had made. But very fittingly, we were talking about how it's very difficult, you know, Viral, who is very consistent for this team, but very difficult to carry a game and have as huge an impact from the support role. We've seen Vex do it in the past. We've seen Cuss do it in the past. Viral did it this game. Genos on Ice Mines is a good combo.
Yeah, we've really never kind of like put him too far under the microscope. Nice snipe there. I mean, a lot of Genesis kills will come from those snipes or maybe cleaning up some last hits or something. But talking so much about the consistency of Invocal, we've always had to hit on Viral as well. It's because when you really look at him, he's never really been looked at as the problem for this Renegades team either. And after a certain amount of time, you got to just say, well, I mean, man, he's just been nothing but an asset for them. Consistent on the support role. Frankly, pretty flexible, too. Yeah. I mean, he can run that Ying. He's been one of the early adopters of Grover as well. This guy definitely deserves a lot of credit for all the healing and all the glue that he is to keep the Renegades together. I mean, snipe after snipe, goodness gracious, the highlight reel from this man on the Ice Mines is crazy.
And I think that's the big thing. I mean, the 5.3 KDA, obviously hitting a lot of the snipes, having an impact not only with the Void Grips, but
1v1 in Mutu.
Shots, 1v1 in Mutu, getting a lot of the snipes, a lot of impact using his kit, but then still being able to knock up about 150,000 healing as well. Like, all on top of that. It's just one of those things, the amount a support can do is becoming so much more visible as time has gone on. I mean, like, Mr. Hayes has been another person to kind of showcase what you can do. His Furia right now, I think, is the only one that I've seen go, like, 9-2 and 35. It's like, yeah, I'm getting all the healing, and I'm stealing your last hits.
For sure. All of those were no setup snipes, too. I mean, he doesn't have any Seismic Crash or Assert Dominance or Dread Serpents. I don't know why they'd be on the same team, but no hard CC to set up those snipes. That's all Viral, baby. It's all Renegades in this set against Na'Vi. 4-3s, close games, but it is that cheeky little Detroit Renegade logo that's all up on the map screen. As we head into map number 3, Na'Vi will have the first pick, and they're going to sit Torvald down first things first.
Well, yesterday it was actually Renegades in their set who chose to go to Bright Marsh. They did not find themselves successful here. So Na'Vi may be hoping to kind of repeat that, get themselves on the board, make it a 2-1, make things maybe a little more interesting going on. But it's a rare sight to kind of go to the Na'Vi booth, see their cams, have them be a little more down, dejected, not necessarily counting themselves out yet because that's just not in their mindset. But then you switch over to the Renegades and it's all smiles, jokes, they're happy. Like, it's just a different dynamic than we got used to in Split 1.
And dejected might be the right word for Na'Vi at the moment. This is that time. We give Phoenix a lot of credit for re-energizing this team. This is where you butter your bread, buddy. You got to earn your keep now. This is, I think, when your team needs you most. This is the tipping point or the tilting point. Like we mentioned, nobody has ever come back from a full reverse sweep being down 3-0 in the PPL. So if the Renegades win this one, statistically that would be a death sentence for Na'Vi and probably one of the biggest upsets I think we have seen this year, period. Again, Renegades are going to go back to the Barrack Genos to keep Na'Vi away from what is very core to their 3 DPS roster. Mutu on the Maeve, though. This is something I'm excited for. He was really, really sharp on this pick yesterday. Very fun to watch. It's kind of weird to compare Mutu to somebody else in this case, but almost reminiscent of, like, Invocal. You know what I mean? Invocal is such a high mechanical level player. That to rival Mutu, I think. Watching both of them play Maeve is very, very fun because they're going to blast through all of those cooldowns that Maeve's got very, very quickly.
Ash has been very hit or miss, but again, it's another one of those essentials. Both times, though, it's kind of felt like we can't get the Barrack Genos, or we don't want to get Barrack Genos because they're having to prioritize this Cassie so highly to make this work. And, you know, when you talk about it, like triple DPS, when it comes down to doing DPS, Cassie's just the best at it. She's really good at being able to make the fight happen on her own. She can take a 1v1 and win it. She can turn it around. She can kill tanks. Like, she is just overall one of the best DPSs. So being able to grab her early is great, but Na'Vi are leaning so heavily on it that it is giving up things I think that are maybe more essential for this. So maybe we see them flex around a little bit towards the latter half, but no, it's going to be the triple DPS.
It certainly is, and probably a Fury to round this one out, just because they do really want to have that damage amp ability. As well as Fury's got, she's got really good range, auto aim, heal. A lot of auto aim healers and paladins nowadays. We got to get some high skill cap supports back up in here. I want more Maldambas. Give me some of that action. But regardless, Fury will be the selection. Just that damage amp ultimate, and Renegades, they're going to go at it 3 DPS-ish. They have that Barrack Ruckus high damage frontline combination.
My journey leads me to battle.
A little bit out on a limb here, I think, with the Ruckus. Absolutely can work on this map. But again, we talked about this a little yesterday. Moonchopper's not at the top of my list. He's not even probably in top 3 of frontliners that come to mind when I think of Ruckus. So if this is something new for him, he's going to have to definitely be phenomenal on this role if he wants to make it work.
I tried to lean on yesterday, but we only have the one pool where Moonchopper played it. They did win that game, but again, it's kind of that up in the air still, just based on stats, see if his track record can kind of change with it. But I mean, as it is right now, like you were saying, Barrack, Ruckus, both very high damaging. Like, Barrack's a lot more frontliney than Ruckus, but you could kind of argue that this is a quad DPS without having to pick quad DPS, and you get the Luminary boost. Is the goal really to just kind of out-damage Na'Vi?
I don't know, man. I like this Na'Vi comp. I think it's really, really high octane. I want to see what they can do with it.
Well, let's see if they can do it. Bright Marsh is a place for high octane, so let's go down to the casters and get this one kicked off.
Yeehaw, partner. We're going to be going into Bright Marsh for this map. I don't know why I did the...
We got the horses in the back. Kresnik with the fire tweet
says,
with every Old Town Road remix, the Renegades just get a little bit stronger. So we're at, like, what, 22 or 23 remixes by now? So
yeah.
We're almost at their full potential.
They're getting there.
They said we got a high-octane game here. Na'Vi still loving themselves some of this triple DPS. Got dealt with pretty handily in game number 1. Very reliant on the right people, on the right champions, doing the right things. You're obviously putting Lazy out on a bit of an island. The Renegades weather that storm in the same way they did in game number 1. Much is looking the same. Shaolin is a much more contingent point, though, for the Renegades. Lex has been very, very good up to this point, and Vocal needs to have a good game on this Shaolin in order for the Renegades to have a chance. Yeah,
Mutu's trying his best. He was trying to flank, trying to see if he could maybe get a kill or two. I mean, really, it was just the damage that he was looking to apply to force them at least out of that spot, so they weren't just holding that high ground like that. So many of them were grouped. They're already forced off of the point, but 36% is on... It is in favor of Renegades, while Natus Vincere, Navi's percentage is steadily building, but the first blood, thanks to Moonchopper, does come out for Renegades.
Finally, they're able to answer back, but Shadow, he's free-firing from the high ground right now, forced back. Is Spunky off to the opposite side here. A little bit of an interesting interaction, and Vocal's looking to get aggressive and actually ends up finding a kill onto Phoenix.
Good job with that. Now Lazy's the one that's left alone. He's going to get staggered, and because of that, he goes down. And now the rest of Renegade is going to end up storming the point. 54% for them already. The rest of Natus Vincere being forced a little bit back here. Spunky's super low. Hero smells it. He wants to keep pushing up the Void Grip to try and kill off Creatives. Viral's the one on the point, though. He gets picked off. It's going to be pretty big, and that's a big loss for Renegades for about another 5 seconds.
Yeah, they need to be able to answer things back, and they do just that. They trade out a couple, but they get the healing of Spunky. So now these triple DPSs, this lone frontliner, are going to be out on a bit of an island. Renegades get themselves to 99%. They're going to have one more shot at maybe getting back here as Natus Vincere have retaken the point.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to get back onto it immediately. They're still waiting for a couple more stragglers to come back to the point, so that way they can start this fight, this last one, to decide who's going to get the point. Moonchopper's already going in, followed by Hero. Moonchopper on the flank. Hero just coming in straight from the front. The Inflame comes out. They want to make sure they can lock this down. I can respect that. The overtime starts to go through. Viral being all the way in the back, misses the through time and space, and now we have the darkness.
Yeah, and Phoenix, he's staying alive right now, and that's what's so important. They only get Lazy here in this fight. The rest of the kills are going in favor of Natus Vincere. Creative's starting to pop off just a little bit, and Natus Vincere gets point number 1. Triple kill for the Eevee to seal that one up for Natus Vincere. Question arises, you're going up against triple DPS. Who's going to deal with the Eevee? Who's going to deal with the Mave? It's not a surefire thing with the Shaolin, not a surefire thing with Alex. I mean, you got to hit a lot of very good shots in order to stop this Eevee from running wild.
Yeah, it's going to take some time for them to actually try and pick it up. And now that we see the scores, we see that Hero, Moonchopper having a little bit of a rough game. They're dying a lot. And Shaolin's closely behind Phoenix. We have Shadow and Phoenix trying to battle for that right now. That top spot at damage. But the score, like, I mean, Natus Vincere is currently pushing the payload. They are applying the pressure, and Renegades is definitely feeling it.
So it's definitely mistaken. Shadow is the one on the Shaolin, and Vocal, of course, dropping down to the Lex. He certainly can play this champion. Dome Shield drops down right now from Hero just to try to stall things out, because with a minute and a half left, this payload's very, very close. Not much room for error. They need to find some sort of answer, the Renegades.
Yeah, but since Moonchopper ended up going down, followed by Hero, followed by Invocal, man, that's a triple kill, a double kill for Mutu, a triple kill for the team, and the rest of them just end up getting wiped out. I mean, man, that's like...
As fast as the opposite games have gone,
yeah,
not all that fast, and honestly, I mean, the last two were .7s. This is a map where the triple DPS can really flex its wings, per se, and this is why. The Inflame into an Eevee, just to single out Creatives in this case, because he's done so well up to this point. You're making life so hard. A Shaolin, especially a Lex playing with the new talent, slower firing guns, they do a little bit more damage. Who's going to deal with the Eevee? I mean, I guess you say maybe Moonchopper on the Ruckus. That's not all that easy. Shadow's 3-3, 2-4 for Invocal. But if you want to single out something like the Eevee, I mean, that's the larger issue here with what the Renegades have, is that there's not an automatic Victor, Leon, Cassie. I mean, you maybe throw Shaolin into that conversation, but Creatives are just too slippery. Mave, just too slippery to really lock down and deal with. If they're able to do that, though, they could win this game.
Inflame followed by Assert. Dominance are already moving into the back line. 3 individuals of Renegades are already down. They're pushing them all the way back, and Vocal's the next one to go down, but since Viral stuck behind that tree, unfortunately, he goes down last. Poor, poor soul. Cannot make it past that, and now they're just going to fall back. Natus Vincere, they're here to play now. They're like, all right, that's cute. You guys got the first 2 games, but now we're going to play. We're playing to the best of our ability. Nice execution coming out from Invocal, though, to get things started.
Not going to matter. Natus Vincere still stationed on the point. It is a good point to bring up in that they stagger them out a little bit. It is lazy as that lone point tank who kind of moves his way in there, puts himself in the face of danger. But, wow, Natus Vincere do not want to give the Renegades a moment to breathe. Midnight comes out right away after the point capture.
Dude, the damage comes through, especially from the Mave. We see that so many of them are low. They're trying to fight back, and you put it perfectly. They are not giving them any room for error, no room to breathe. Shadow killing Creatives might be the way to get out of this, but man, it's like you kill one, and then the rest of Navi is just steamrolling. Triple kill into that. Absolutely ridiculous. When do you get the Quadra? Are they letting him get it, or are they just, they're staggering him?
Trying to stagger him out.
Yeah.
You would a lot of these guys, and this is smart enough at this level, you know, the Quadra sounds nice, but you just want to win this game. You're down 2-0 to the Renegades. You're trying to get back on the right foot at 11-1, 11-2. The damage dealers are doing just what they need to do. They're going to seal up this game in less than 8 minutes.
Yeah, of course. You're going to see that they're now using their ultimates. I heard that through time and space doesn't really find anybody, and now we have Moonchopper with the Hexafire. It's not enough, man. Creatives and Mutu just staying on top of these individuals, dude. Like, it's so hard. Like, they keep dying, and they already won. It's over that quickly.
As soon as it started. I blinked my eyes, I rubbed them a little bit, and the game was over as soon as it started. And towards the end of that, that's where you would expect a Shaolin to really be able to do well. He's got free high ground. He's right out of his base. He's trying to shoot down. Can't get Creatives uncomfortable. Can't get Mutu uncomfortable. Can't get Phoenix uncomfortable. And that's the story of this game, in that Creatives was able to just free roam, free kill, do whatever he wanted the entire time. And if it wasn't Creatives, it was Mutu. There was just too much to focus on with not a consistent enough answer from the Renegades. Again, maybe Leon, maybe a Tyra. Just something to deal with the mobility that Natus Vincere brought was just honestly missing from the Renegades. They want to just sweep this one away.
Right.
4-0. Let's move this one to the side. They're still up 2-1, 2 games away from taking another win this week.
Yeah, that is true. And we're going to have to see where the Renegades can actually do if they can clutch it out against Navi. That feels so weird to say.
Yeah.
You
can say it again.
It really does. I'm just making sure I'm looking at the camera. They might clutch this out against Navi. Renegades might beat Navi. Find out after this break.
INAP, powering the control room for the Paladins Premier League.
Well, welcome back once again now. Na'Vi at least keeping themselves alive in this set. A pretty fast 4-0 to make sure they just, again, close 4-3, close 4-3. Smack them down a little bit to let them know that you're still Na'Vi. And now we can continue the set.
Had to stay alive here. Again, they did not want to go down 3-0. I think they make some great adjustments there. And sticking to their guns, that's a big thing to note for Na'Vi today. Despite this kind of 3 DPS thing, looking a little shaky against the Renegades, they want to stick it out. Not a lot of huge damage numbers here, but mostly because that game is like, 6-7 minutes long.
Yeah.
Very, very quick work of the Renegades here on Brightmarsh. Mutu 12-1, Phoenix 12-2. Very solid performances all around. Lazy 1-4, but I think does a phenomenal job setting up a lot of these team fights. There's one Ashe ult in particular, I believe in the second round during the point. That was phenomenal. Helped set up Mutu and Phoenix to get that crazy amount of kills that they managed to snag. And we're looking forward to, me specifically, of what Mutu's going to be able to do with this Maeve pick. All of Phase 1, I think Mutu, at least from my point of view, was going through kind of like an identity crisis. I'm like, I don't even know what I would call Mutu's top 3 characters right now. But Maeve, he didn't really bring it into the meta, but he's certainly a guy that has made it look right and kind of justify why it's here. He's looked so solid on it the back half, or the back, couple weeks or two of Phase 1, as well as the MSI, and of course here now into Phase 2. Really solid stuff from him on this character.
I mean, a 17.0 KDA for a game.
That's
is just
good,
a ridiculous number.
You want that?
You want that. At any point in time, if you can get that, that is one thing to strive to attain. I think that might be the highest one I've seen.
That's
it's
a big
just
boy.
One of those numbers where it's just like he had one death, and it was the first, like his only death. He dies once, says not again, and then just goes on. Probably not the longest, but one of the longest killing sprees.
I think the longest has got to be Alex on that Vivian Brightmarsh game.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was tough to watch for sure. But they're looking phenomenal, and I like that you can almost tell that it's Mutu playing this Maeve. It's that high intensity mechanical nature in which the cooldowns, they just come spraying out. It looks like it's all pre-planned, and he's just executing on the directive that his brain has issued his hands, and it just never misses, man. Him and Vocal, two incredibly good from a mechanical standpoint players. It's definitely a treat to watch them go head-to-head in this matchup.
Well, this is one of those maps that, in my mind, both of these teams have found success here in different kind of, I guess, terms of success. Renegades, this was one of the first maps that they took NIP to a 4-3 and kind of looked like they could be one of those contending teams. Na'Vi, this is just one of the ones that they have played in and out for a long time on Frozen Guard. It's going to be the Torvald Genos ban on the one side, Makoa Atlas on the other. Khan, Ashe both open. Khan grabbed up. And Ashe has been big for Na'Vi, so I wouldn't be surprised if they go for it here.
Well, they've been first picking or first round selecting Cassie if their second pick basically every single time. High prioritization of Ashe as well. Don't know if this is a lazy thing. He just prefers it in his single tank endeavors. But not overly predictable this time. Na'Vi have not gone straight into something like a Barrack Genos. And it's not even really that Barrack has been super core to the Na'Vi 3 DPS, right? When you look back on Fnatic playing 3 DPS, deal was on Barrack 99% of the time. However, This is kind of a new thing for Na'Vi, and it looks like they might be trying to kind of put their own spin on 3DPS. What that looks like. I mean, Lazy can absolutely play Barrack. We've seen that so much in Phase 1. He's absolutely proven that. But perhaps this is more of a Na'Vi flavor of what 3DPS could, as well as should look like.
Maybe even taking some notes and looking at, the reason they lost in MSI, right? When you're looking at the way Penta were able to kind of all in, but they were so good at doing that all-in strategy where it's just like, how do we infuse some of that into what we already know how to do and not give up too much? I mean, 2 maps, depending on who you ask, is always going to be maybe too much to give up. But being, again, able to kind of internalize some of what has worked really well against you, maybe push the envelope and try to force that to work against some other teams. They get the Maeve back, which obviously just had a good performance. So Na'Vi looking to kind of keep on pace with themselves from the last 3 games.
Well, it's pretty much time to pick up that support if you're Na'Vi. I wonder if we might be seeing the Leon, because Phoenix's Cassie's been taken away. Allegedly, again, in the interview yesterday, tells us he's a lot of stuff in him. Excuse me, Genesis was banned, so Furia, the damage amp selection, and there it is. Good against the Eevee, as well as just good for this map. The long ranges, both on the point and during the payload push, going to be very, very favorable for Leon, especially when trying to break the enemy base, or even defending when you're up on the rafters, kind of shooting down at everybody assaulting your castle. Renegades looking to round this one out with Damba as well as Inara.
And this would be a draft where it's very, again, not only standard, but very much what you would expect. Inara going to just try to soak up as much damage as possible while Eevee and Cassie go to the carry with Khan. And then Na'Vi trying to pump as much damage into you to make it so that Moldamba's healing doesn't matter. And honestly, finding flanks, looking for those rolls. Very, very good counter to Eevee and the Leon. Do you think like a standard composition from Renegades can withstand the amount of damage Na'Vi have drafted?
Honestly, yeah, I think so. I mean, Damba and Nara is such a high throughput,
to protect the sanctity of the wild.
combination on the objective. I'm most curious, frankly, about what this Khan's going to do. I see a place for Cassie to kind of sit there and poke out at mid-range. I don't see them getting aggressive together, though. You know what I mean? I don't see this Cassie diving alongside Khan. If anything, I would expect maybe Eevee to be shoulder to shoulder with Khan if they're going to get in and get aggressive. I am looking for Khan to put a lot of pressure on Lazy. He is the solo frontliner. He relies heavily on staying behind his siege shield, as well as staying inside the bounds of his assert dominance, overpower. Commander's grab, very, very good, traditionally for getting Ashe away from where she wants to be. But it looks like with that Barrack selection, it's going to be Phoenix probably playing that this time around.
Yeah. It's a crazy day to see a pick that can be first picked and Barrack always going 10th. But either way, it's going to be locked in for Na'Vi. Changing their ways back to what we're used to just for one game here as we go down to Frozen Guards. So let's go ahead and jump down to Stefan and Dave and see what they have to say about these drafts.
I mean, to be fair, I do like Renegade's draft just a little bit more. I do like, as we were talking about it, and I do like the fact that Eevee and Cassie were picked to deny the 3-man DPS that they were going for.
Oh, yeah, they saw it coming.
We were literally just talking about that, how that was a very good play from them.
They saw it coming.
Yeah, they did.
Said no thank you. 2 similar drafts in a way. I mean, the healers and the frontliners in a way are kind of different. I mean, it's 2 lineups that are going to seek to do the same thing, but honestly just in a different way. I think Nick pointed it out, and I agree with the point that Damba and Nara stack, especially on Frozen Guard, very good duo that you want to have. Furia, 6,000 health per second heal with her healing beam. Granted, Cauterize stops that off a little bit. At full Cauterize, though, you're getting 600 health per second, which is still pretty absurd. But it's much more situational. You don't just throw a gourd on the ground and let people stand in it. You need to be hitting those beams. You have a little bit of healing outside of that as well, but it's less consistent. Higher potential, maybe less consistency. But if anyone's going to play it, anyone's going to make it look good, it's going to be Spunky.
I agree 100%. We see the fights already starting. Natus Vincere holding a little bit to the right here. They're not going on a point immediately. 48% for Renegades. But they're not going in yet. They're looking for something, looking for a little bit more damage. Nice movement coming out from that Eevee. He was able to dodge it just a little bit. Doesn't want to get picked off too much. But Creatives is trying his best to try and he's trying to hit him with these small shots that's going to lead to kills.
That's the interaction you need to look at throughout this game. If Creatives is able to stop the Eevee from flying around, the answer to the mobility is the Leon here in this case. If he's able to win that engagement, this gets much easier for Natus Vincere, whereas the Cassie's going to have a harder time hitting Maeve on a consistent basis. Again, though, Invocal, a guy who can certainly do that. We're getting up in the numbers here. 60% for Renegades, 81% for Natus Vincere, but no first blood yet.
Yeah, not a single kill has happened on the side of either team. 90%. The scout ends up coming through, Invocal and the rest of them want to see. They might be trying to look for a kill or at least some sort of form of pressure. Shadow got a little bit too aggressive. Creatives now makes it the first blood. Moonchopper being all alone. Can't really fight Leanne one-on-one like that. She does too much damage, I feel like, for him to actually be able to counter.
Yeah, that's exactly the interaction I said you need to look out for as well.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to microscope it because it's one of now 2, 3, 4 kills that's happened. But prior to that point cap, literally one kill had happened in this game, and it was Creatives onto Shadow, and that's the interaction you have to zoom in on with a microscope. Last game on Brightmarsh on the opposite side, you saw Creatives on an Eevee that had no real guaranteed threats. You know, the Ruckus maybe, but not the best pick in that situation. This time, though, the Leon is able to free fire, drop Shadow off. A lot of other stuff was at play. I mean, that was a very late mid-fight kill finally coming through. That's a good example of maybe what you can expect.
Yeah, the Dread Serpent comes through. They're trying to find something. They do find Lazy. She gets feared away. Leon having to be forced to back off just a little bit, but they are coming through with the damage. Enlightenment hits. Doesn't find the kill, though. And now Renegade's going to be able to just clap back just a little bit.
Oh, so important for the Renegades to go right there. Moonchopper dashing in, getting stunned up just a little bit. Some intermittent trades, though. Like I said, very important for the Renegades because that payload, if that trade starts to go the way of Natus Vincere, you're looking at defending on Frozen Guard with 1.5 minutes left and the payload's at your doorstep, and that's honestly too much to overcome. The benefit of a map like Frozen Guard is you can slow it down on defense. You can hang back, especially with a Cassie, especially with an Eevee, especially with Inara. You play very well on defense, so very good trades there from Renegades to put the thing, or tilt the game, I should say, back in their favor just a little bit.
Yeah, Hero's pushing up a little bit. He was able to fight off 2, forcing them all the way back. Renegades just with this pressure. Their positioning is really good. 4 ultimates online, really 3. We've talked about it before. Scout does not have the... It's not like an aggressive ult. It's not like if I use this, you're going to die. It's just utility. It still is useful, don't get me wrong, but it's not going to net them. Well, I can't even really say it's not going to net them many kills. It's just really it
you
depends.
maybe hold on to it until the Midnight comes out
Right,
on the
yeah,
opposite
there we
side.
go.
Counters out the Midnight very well. It gives you vision, but right now, if you're the Renegades, you know where Natus Vincere are going to be coming from. That's likely just away. It's not necessarily why you pick Cassie here, but it's the added benefit. If you have Cassie, they have a Maeve. That ultimate does not play well into unlimited vision for your team. They have 4 ultimates, both teams with 4 ultimates. Dread Serpent up maybe a little bit quicker than the Enlightenment. 3 seconds left. Overtime is going to happen. Do or die for the Renegades here on defense.
Yeah, Lazy does end up getting... He does have damage onto him. Now we see that Mewtwo's trying to get a kill onto the Eevee. He's trying to just apply a little bit more pressure. Moonchopper off there. Nice wall coming out from the Inara. Is going to force Mewtwo to be up in the high ground and try and do it. He's going for the land, going for the kill, but no one's on the point. No one's able to be there. They do find several kills. Lazy cleaning him up, dusting his hands off. Because of that, they're able to net the point for that.
Sets him up, knocks him down. I mean, the damage potential that Na'Vi has is crazy, but Lazy's name always comes up in the conversation of best point tanks, best frontliners in this league, and for good reason. Rounds out this rounds out this 2-point win here for Natus Vincere, but those flick shots from Creatives, so potent, especially against Shadow. 0-2-2, Invocal 2-1-2, but look at the Eevee. 18,000 damage, only above the 2 healers right now.
Yeah.
Shadow has not been able to get comfortable. Shadow has not been able to find it. I mean, I'm going to be honest, any damage in this game. I mean, he's doing 8,000 more damage than a Furia right now. Second to last on his team, only above Adamba. I don't want to put too much of a microscope on him. It's sort of the situation he's inherited, but that's just Natus Vincere doing a good job of limiting the Eevee on the opposite side.
Speaking of limiting, talk about limiting your line of sight, especially after Invocal's gone. The Dread Serpent, nice job. They have to play a little bit more defensively, forcing them off of it. Hero goes down, though. Shadow finds a kill of his own, trading 1 for 1. Assert the overpower to stop the Assert dominance, but he still died. That's so unfortunate.
That's a quick, that's
that
a
is
split
so
second
unfortunate.
play. Beautiful, beautiful mind for the game there, trying to overpower through the assert dominance, and it works out, but there's no follow-up. The rest
Yeah.
of the Renegades at that point are dead, back at base, respawning. That's what you see here is the retake attempt. Natus Vincere were able to use all of their ultimates. That's that favorite statistic we have. Renegades do have the tools to maybe retake here, but it's a very situational. With Hero going down,
man.
Seismic Crash doesn't get to get used either. Only the Ice Storm. 3-0 now for Natus Vincere.
Yeah, I think Na'Vi just woke up. I think they found their mojo.
Yep.
Now they're definitely doing their thing, man. Like, they found their momentum, and now they're doing it. Shadow, 33 health. Almost got blown up by being in the wrong place, the wrong time. But take a look at the KDAs and look at Lazy and Phoenix, the two of them.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the frontliners just take
Yeah.
these games over.
100%.
And Lazy is the type who absolutely can do that. Mutu benefiting from a little bit of extra space here. Double kill on the Mave to keep this payload moving forward with 2 minutes left. Renegades maybe in store for another 8-minute 4-0.
Yeah, that's, man, oh man, such good play coming out from Natus Vincere. They're being forced all the way back, and by they, I mean Renegades just in their spawn, trying to wait for their teammates to come back, trying to wait for their opportunity, trying to wait for something. And with the Inflame already being online,
Agreed.
that's going to be huge when Renegades tries to fight back.
And Vocal, that little trade right there, and Vocal tried to peek out. This is where Akasi is supposed to flourish on this defensive end. You get to stand up on this archway and free fire. The moment his head pokes around that corner, Creatives is absolutely blowing him up. They countered out Midnight with the Scout. That's great. But look out for the Inflame. Look out for the Enlightenment as well. Natus Vincere want to end this game right now.
They definitely do, and we're seeing it right now. The Enlightenment, the Inflame, we've said it about 3 times now, but it's the truth. Once this Inflame actually goes through, if they decide to use it, nice body block, nice stun, nice everything. Like right there, killing Phoenix, that's super huge. Now they're going to be able to change momentum. Now they're going to start pushing forward. Renegades, they're still in it, man.
They're not down and out, not just as of yet. Small hero plays, I should say, from Hero. Keeps the Renegades in this one, just locking down the shoulder bash of Phoenix, trying to get out. Does not let him go anywhere, but that's a fight that still has 30 seconds left on the clock. Only the Midnight and Scout use, so still the same amount of tools. The Dread Serpent as well goes through, tries to catch out Mutu, who's going to blink in, but ends up not taking that route.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't think it just ended up working out how they wanted it to, man. And the Inflame, just like we were saying, so I think it was the 4th time it is I actually mention it. Once that Inflame went out, that was just it. Like, they controlled it, and then he ended up walling himself off, which was just unfortunate. I think he was still in contest range for that, even if he did have the wall. I think it was just that Na'Vi, like, they just ran right through him.
They hit that go button. The Inflame tells the team when they're ready to fight. Assert dominance is good. And that's just a cleaner, honestly, a cleaner game from Natus Vincere. It was 2 compositions that did similar things, but just a little bit more consistent on dealing with the damage were Natus Vincere. You had the frontliners controlling that game so well on Na'Vi. Creatives on the Leon, brilliant game, but you can't overlook Phoenix. You can't overlook Lazy. The triple kill from the Barrack to seal up one of those point pushes. This is a perfect example of a game where you have a good draft and literally everybody on your roster plays their role perfectly.
Yeah, it was just overwhelming, I guess is a way to say it. That's the second 4-0, I believe, right? Bright March was a 4-0.
Yeah, that one was
this
sub
is
10
a 4-0.
minutes as well.
Yeah, and it's like Na'Vi just woke themselves up. But the question is, who will now gain the lead now that it's tied 2-2? You have to find out after this break to see who's going to be the one to take it over.
Skillshot, the official production partner of the Paladins Premier League.
You are my pill, I swallow it. Take me away to Neverland, where colors fade my disbelief and make me forget my memory. Rent a car you can't afford, put on a song that we both know. Let your hair out in the wind, put the pedal to the floor, flame your light, take a smoke. Put your broken rip-off wafers on. Doesn't matter if the sun goes down, we'll still be up, still be up. Don't care about the place we found, we'll still be up, still be up. We're in this together, we both fall down. Doesn't matter if the sun goes up, 'cause 'Cause we will still be high when the lights out. We can pretend the time is still. Stay in the daydream, chase the thrill.
It's been done once again by Na'Vi. They tie up the set. It's 2-2. And, well, Frozen Guard was a lot more of what we saw on Bright Marsh, except maybe kind of shifting who the shoulders were. Like, I guess everybody else was standing on around. And that's kind of something Na'Vi's always been good at, is just every single one of them performing at a time.
You have to beat all 5 of those players. They're incredible, man. It's what's made them such an invaluable team, such a consistent team. All 5 of them show up and will absolutely, if given the opportunity, if given a little bit of freedom, a little bit of space, they will take over the game.
I mean, looking at the damage numbers, you can already just see that, well, Lazy putting in maybe a little bit more overall. Mutu might have been 8-1, but it was almost 20,000 between the two of them at that 7-4-9. And I think it goes to, so first off, Spunky has been out of his mind the last 2 games on objective time, but Lazy being able to come in and have the performance he's had. You had mentioned Barrick actually during the last game. We were talking like they're focusing on Ashe so much.
Yeah.
But this was just the perfect showcase. He does absolutely run the show when he's Barrick.
Yeah, this is a big part of Lazy's kit and why we wanted to make that remark about given the change to the 3 DPS. Naturally, our minds wanted to go to Barrick because that's what we've seen be successful in that type of composition before. But it's so weird that it has been Ashe for the selection for Lazy. So to get to see him kind of return to form on his more traditional point tank, it's definitely a good example and a good reminder to everyone out there, or people who might be new to the scene of, this is really the kind of characters that Lazy's usually playing on, but making that transition is something that Na'Vi is attempting to do this phase just to give the team more overall versatility and more answers. Because really, it's kind of like, look at the World Championship, right? When they were playing Envy and Envy just started to kind of figure it out, Na'Vi just kind of kept doing the thing that they do well. They didn't have anything else to go to, so making a step in this direction is going to make them a very scary team. If they can juggle both of those play styles very well to the same degree, I'm scared of that squad for sure.
It was definitely, part of the reason we saw NIP get so far ahead early on was just they were like, cool, we're going to play triple tank this game, triple DPS next game, and then a standard composition and just see what happens. And we happened to win all 4 games every single time. It was that threat of, we don't know what to pick. We don't know what to ban. What are these guys going for this time? And once you get that kind of air about you, teams don't know what to do. Even looking at the bans, everything's been very consistent, but that time Renegades kind of lean a little bit more. They're like, well, they're going triple DPS a lot. Let's get rid of Genos. And now he's like, all right.
Yeah, they figure out a way. But again, it comes down to just the star-studded lineup that Na'Vi offer. Spunky can play basically anything. He's one of the more OG supports, so even going to those Yings, and even Saris, I think he enjoys Saris, but I think Saris is just not kind of around at the moment, but he could play any support. Lazy starting to look very, very flexible on the front line. And it's worth noting, Lazy is not a career frontliner either. He used to play DPS way, way back in the day. I've been doing the frontline thing for a good amount of time now, but you can still see his DPS days shining through, especially if you get to spectate him for a little while. Very, very high sense player, very good aim. Has his little quirks, his little ticks, his little triangle flicks that he does. Fun to watch for sure, as is the rest of the Na'Vi and the Renegades roster. But as this one has evened up back to 2-2, I'm starting to wonder what the energy's like in the Renegades booth if the momentum swing has really started to be tangible over there.
Especially because, again, I was talking to Lazy before they even had their set overall. Hero seems perfectly fine.
He does this thing. He eyes the camera down and then doesn't know what to do when the camera gets on him. You know what I mean? He's like, do I want to smile? Do I want to point? Do I want to wink? I don't really know. And I'm just going to look away.
I'm looking engaged and
he's
conversation.
like
I'm
he's
absolutely
like baiting
talking
the
to my
camera
team right now.
Yeah, he's baiting the camera. Come to me, and then he just looks away.
Either way, it's going to be coming through. Maeve going to get banned. Torvald, Atlas, Makoa.
No Atlas today, man. That's
A
sad.
lot of stuff. Yeah, hey, I feel like every now and then you're going to let him slip through.
I love watching Atlas.
And
I
then-
can watch that gun shoot all day.
Everyone will be like reminded, oh yeah, he hurts. Let's not play against that.
He
Ban him
hurts
permanently
bad.
for the rest of the
Wicked
day.
good kit. A lot of fun, and for that, he will sit. He will sit for probably a long time. I don't really
Him and
know.
Makoa just on the bench together playing their own game at
Yeah.
this point.
Man, because he's got a great kit, because if you look at something like, what's the most basic kit I can think of? Probably like a Buck, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
10-second cooldowns across the board. Everything does like one thing, damage and slow, leap, heal. It's like, either the numbers are enough or they're not enough, you know what
Yeah.
I mean, with that type of kit. When you have something as unique as Atlas, it's so cool. There's so many little elements to it. And granted, it's just a byproduct of one came out 3 years after the other. You know what I mean? Buck's a part of that. You know, we just got to get characters in the game so people can play. But a fun character nonetheless, and I love where the champion direction is going. Also love the spoiler that Thunderbrush put out today for the new character.
I
Not
don't know
Idol,
if I saw it,
the next one.
but I'll have to look because I've
It's a
seen
good
some-
spoiler too. It's not a Thomas Holt spoiler where it's
Yeah.
basically just the thing.
That's my favorite thing actually about going over the other building. Like, go see my brother-in-law and look at the new champions.
Oh,
Like
man.
whatever he's looking at, it's always incredibly fun. But we can't tell you anything.
I don't know if he's going to be good, but I am so excited for
Oh, I
the new.
think
The
he's
new
gonna be
character
super
is
fun.
so dope. I cannot wait. Not even, and it's for like probably from just what it is and his
Yeah.
aesthetic. Well, I guess I kind of spoiled it. It is a he, but the aesthetic of that character is so much, exciting. It's so exciting to me.
The reload animation was shown to me like maybe a week ago now.
Yeah.
It was one of my favorite reload animations, I think, in the game. Like, right up there with Atlas's. Like, for anyone who doesn't know Atlas, when he reloads, he doesn't reload. All of the bullets that he fired comes back into the gun. He
sets his gun
rewinds
back in time.
His bullets. So it's just those things
That's
that
just
have been coming
efficient.
out
That's just
lately. That's been
environmentally
really
friendly.
cool.
You don't want to leave shell casings everywhere, like Ruckus.
Yeah.
Jeez. Well, we got ourselves a draft shaping up here, Gore. We're halfway through, and we haven't said a damn word about it. So now's the time.
Here's a word. Since when does Khan go sixth?
That's a good question. That might be one of the later and it's so weird. It's like you get kind of almost used to when you stare at as many picks and bans as we do. You get used to like color schemes and things being in certain places. Like yesterday when Maldamba got banned, it just was weird. I'm not used to seeing that much,
Yeah.
like a big green blob down there. I was like, what the hell is going on? But definitely some notes to keep an eye on. Finally getting Genos as well. Renegades have been picking Genos away from Na'Vi, trying to prevent that problem from even happening. We even saw, I believe, ban once this set.
Yeah.
So now it's like kind of snuck back up on them. And this is, I think, the end goal of what Na'Vi's trying to do here. If they have so many styles, they were already a hard team to draft against because they could play so much. If they really master and lock down a second whole total package play style, they're going to be nigh impossible to know.
Yeah.
As long as they're drafting appropriately and kind of ambiguously through the first couple of picks, it's gonna get hard to commentate their drafts. You're just gonna be like, they could go this way, they could go that way. It's already difficult.
It makes it a little more fun because, like, I mean, even here, if they really I anticipate another front line here. They don't have to. They don't need to if they don't want to, and that's the glorious thing. That's actually one of the things Ash can bring, Khan can bring, and Barrett can bring, where it's just like we can do a lot of damage. Khan is probably the lowest of those three, but he can still kind of hold his own on the point if he has to.
Yeah.
He doesn't really like it,
I
but
was
he
gonna
will.
say, I was gonna be surprised if they went for it because it's that conversation of so many tanks are banned. A lot of the good ones, especially Lazy's picks, except for Inara, are picked, but Inara, Genos, that synergy's not really there.
Yeah.
And there's so many high-tier DPS picks still open. So this is the boon. This is what being able to play this style gives to you. With so much emphasis on tank picks and bans, a lot of times you're left with this. You're left with like high-tier DPS picks or Fernando. And it's just like, obviously.
I wonder which one I want to go for.
I'm super meh about Fernando. Probably more so than I am about Barrick these days,
Yeah.
to be honest.
I mean, Barry, it's because it's no longer Architectonics.
Yeah, he's not a Turk character
But one
anymore.
day, maybe.
Oh, God.
Maybe
I
he'll
hope
come
not,
back.
dude. I
Either
hope
way,
not.
It's 2-2 as of right now. Na'Vi have won the last 2. The first 2 went the way of the Renegades. No matter what, someone is going to take the lead here. Let's go ahead and jump down and find out who.
Game 5, Stone Keep. Gore said it. It is 2-2. Renegades, Na'Vi, they're both even right now.
The math is flawless.
It's true. 2 and 2 are both the same number.
Numbers are absolutely correct there. Stone Keep is where it's going to get decided who is one game away from ending their week with a win here. Going back to the Shaolin for Shadow. I think that's fine. Getting Invocal on the Cassie as well. So the composition similar to like what we saw on maybe a Bright Marsh. I believe Lazy was on either Barrack or Ash on that Bright Marsh game. But my big question was when you have Eevee and then another mobile champion. In the last case it was Maeve, but this time it's Willow. You need something to be able to deal with it when you have a triple DPS composition on the opposite side. Liana's gone. Cassie can do that. Shaolin can do that. It's not as easy, again, as a Victor or a Tyra or something of that nature. But if Invocal and Shadow are really hitting their shots, really feeling these bow characters, it becomes a lot harder for Natus Vincere to flex those wings, per se. So that's what I look at. And then Lazy to continue his frontline command like he has throughout the rest of this set.
Not a single person has touched the point yet. They're all fighting in
They're
upper
not
ground
creative.
to try.
Just get 3%.
Yeah, you leave like not a single person. They're all fighting right now. They're trying. There we go. Not only is it first blood, but we also have first point right now in the game.
And that was just somebody walking through the point on the way to get back involved in the fight. I don't think they were actually standing on the point. I think that was just in their way of getting to where they wanted to be.
Well,
The front lines, though, win the day this time around. The Renegades feeling a little bit more confident. I'm actually surprised, I would say, that the Renegades win that fight. They're so grouped up and bunched up. That allows Viral to heal a little bit more consistently, a little bit better with that AoE healing he brings. But the AoE damage, I guess that was sort of the battle there. Does the splash damage win the day, or does the splash healing win the day? This time around, though, the frontliners and the splash healing win the day. And with 78, now 81% for the Renegades, they're zoning for point number 1.
yeah, 93% onto the point already. I mean, like Renegades is like they're doing extremely well, but the fight's like not even over. Rarely has it even started. It was that long engagement at the beginning. Misses the overpower, can't actually catch it. Through time and space comes through. Phoenix finds 2 kills, and that's going to be able for Natus Vincere to find their aggression. 3 kills for Phoenix, a triple kill. Creatives cleaning it up on Hero. Now that they have the advantage, Shadow's the last one to go down, and because of that, they're netting themselves a lot of percentage onto the point.
It was about as high value of an enlightenment as you can possibly get. Rips through, finds the damage, the consistent damage that Leon brings for Phoenix. Rounds out the rest of it. The Void Grip right out of the Assert Dominance, not able to get it through. And after being up at 96%, the Renegades are not able to seal that one up. Get clean swept on the back of a triple kill from Phoenix.
Big sad on from the perspective of Moonchopper. Very, very big sad. He wasn't actually able to use that assert dominance to stun and keep himself alive, and because of this, now we see Mutu holding up the high ground, but all of them forced into spawn. He's taking a few shots here and there. Those shots are enough to decide who really has the momentum here. The fact that he's even up there and none of them have really moved forward to fight, like that speaks volumes.
Yeah, this is hard. Honestly, this is hard from the Renegades. If there's anywhere that a Shaolin and a Cassie are going to perform well, it's here when you're back. All the damage is coming in, but that's something you can't prepare for. You see how fast Creatives is in, out, does the blast damage. That's so hard to deal with for anyone on the Renegades, and they just have not been able to do it.
Yeah, they haven't been able to find their stride. And Vogel find the first kill onto Lazy, though. That might be what they need. They are starting to push forward now that they've noticed that one of their members is gone, forcing Natus Vincere at least a little bit back. Spunky just eating a lot of damage from Invocal, just getting shot one after the next. Crossbow bolt finds his way into a second body. Phoenix goes down, but Creatives is not going to let that slide. They do know that he's out of position, and they do find the kill.
Yeah, up and over goes Creatives, finds the kill onto Invocal. Still a minute left. Payload, despite all of the kills being for the Renegades, kept moving forward. They moved out of their base so far to follow up those kills. The Payload actually inching even a little bit closer than they would have had they just stayed. The Renegades with a good defense there, but the overpower from Lazy starts this off very well for Natus Vincere.
Now that Shadow went down, Hero's the next one to fall. The
Go
rest
in.
of Renegades are trying to do what they can. Moonchopper's eating too much damage for him to be able to contest, to even get the overtime. And how long was Cassie back there? They were shooting at her before that overpower even went off.
Yeah, that was a long time. I don't know. I'm not sure. I honestly didn't even notice it.
Yeah,
This is the triple kill from Phoenix. The Enlightenment. This time, the flick shot onto 1, the good shots onto 2 and 3. And honestly, individual performances sometimes just win the day. You talk about this min-max team play roundabout. That's just the case of a guy who traditionally plays off tank, being just as comfortable on these hit scan DPS damage dealers, whether it's Cassie, whether it's Leon. Phoenix can do it all, and honestly, I think that's why Natus Vincere can play this triple DPS so well.
Yeah.
Is because it's not a long shot to expect Phoenix to do well on Leon. It's not like he's in an awkward, uncomfortable position. He's just good at these champions anyway.
Man.
Cannot imagine a worse start for the Renegades. Spunky finding kill number 1.
There's the Void Grip. Ends up coming out to try and stop the Assert Dominance, but it does end up landing. This time he does not get killed. Mutu all the way in the top, raining down fire on Hero. Nice movement coming out from him. He moves just barely out of the way, avoids the Shaolin shot, and because of that, they do get the kill on Hero, but not before Invocal kills Creatives. But still, man, Natus Vincere pops the Heat Haze. Actually, this is a 2-2 trade right now. It was looking in favor of Navi at first, but now it's about even.
And Vocal came back into that fight right around the right time. Mutu actually, with the help of Phoenix, turns around the kill this time. And this Willow has not been able to get stopped. 16 streak for the Willow right now. Triple DPS, you got to pick and choose your target. 78% for Natus Vincere. Renegades need to find something, and it's not that.
Wow.
It is not that, and Natus Vincere are going to go up 3-0 yet again. Maybe a sub 10-minute game after going up 2-0 for the Renegades.
Renegades, not like this. It's already 3-0, Dave. Where's the humanity? Navi's already starting to push the payload in. They don't have any ultimates online, but the through time and space is getting there. They also almost have the overpower and the enlightenment. Meanwhile, they only have Dread Serpent on the side of Renegades. They'll get the Assert Dominance soon, but I don't know if it's going to be soon enough before this payload gets there.
You know, it's just the nature of the Natus Vincere ults. I think Enlightenment has kill potential, through time and space does. Faithlight. So, I mean, maybe that's why the Natus Vincere ults have been a little bit more flashy, but the Renegades have just kind of missed their ults this game. They haven't been impactful. I haven't seen many great Dome Shields, Assert Dominance, neither here nor there. And again, I think that's just sort of the array of ultimates that Natus Vincere have. It's a little bit flashier, a little bit more obvious when they do land. But they have just been landing in droves for Natus Vincere. Payload yet again inching ever closer to a 4-0.
Game after game. There goes the overpower. Shadow gets yoinked immediately. And unfortunately for him, that yoink was the end of his life, and that might be the end of the game. Moonchopper uses the Assert Dominance. Viral ends up getting, not deleted, but his health just dissipates. Moonchopper being one of the only ones left, along with Invocal. They are fighting back, but I don't know if it's going to be enough Void Grip to kill Moonchopper. Shadow's on the point. The rest of them are filing in to try and contest. And that, actually, they end up defending it.
They do, and that shows you the power of Invocal, Cassie, Shaolin, whatever it may be. When they're able to sit back and the frontliners of the Renegades are able to draw enough attention away from the damage dealers. It's been Mutu, Creatives, Phoenix, one of the three of them essentially deleting either of the Renegades DPS players, and they have not had any uptime in this game. So that's a good example of when you do have some uptime, these guys can certainly make good on it. Still 36 seconds left, though, to avoid going down 3-2 after a 2-0 start. Renegades need to find a hold here.
They're fighting back as hard as they can, but one-for-one trade. Either player on both teams just respawning, dude. And Moonchopper's already looking pretty low in that regard. He was already fighting a 2v1. Lazy and Mutu being forced back just a little bit, but they are trying to get the damage on Moonchopper. They do find it, and they also find the kill. Hero kills Mutu, though, and Spunky with that through time and space. If he hits this, he looks like he's trying to set up for it, actually, right now.
Might be looking for it. Just trying to drop maybe some heals. Creatives could use a little boost on that side as well. Here's through time and space. They dash out of it just in time. That one does not connect. Overtime, though, starting to tick away. Lazy very low. Who finds the first pick? I think that could decide it.
Yeah, and speaking of, well, I was about to say it might just go anyway because no one was standing on the point, but they do find the kill on the Hero, and Invocal finds the kill on the Phoenix, but with all these trades, they are in the favor of blue. Two of them are currently respawning. 3 kills for Renegades. That makes it their first point on Stone Keep.
And that's a big moment for Moonchopper. The double kill on the Ashe needed Moonchopper to come up big in those moments with the onslaught of triple DPS damage coming at them. He was able to hold his own, and this is the good example of Invocal. And you can see just checking these sides, hitting the good shots, and that's not easy. That's not easy on a Cassie. I mean, from that range, might as well be direct damage, but you really have to lead off just a little bit here and there. And you can see when the rest of Na'Vi are focused on other members of the Renegades, Invocal is able to fill that role, do some good damage. Good for second in the game up to this point. But Phoenix at 10-4-13 is the one topping the charts.
Yeah, that's a good point to make. I mean, he's doing extremely well. And
Record 3 as well. I mean, Moonchopper and Hero, that's so much less effective. So much of their kit revolves around dropping these shields, fighting behind them. And Wrecker 3 on Leon just deletes them.
Ooh, Dread Serpent comes through the battle shout to make himself invulnerable. Lazy's trying his best, and they do end up getting the kill. Goodness, I'm glad they actually ended up getting it. But for every one, it seems like 2 will always fall. Forget 2, make it 3. 3 individuals are down. Moonchopper looking to be next on the menu. They ready to feast, and feast they shall. He goes down next. Hero's going to be the next one, being forced to back off of this point. But it doesn't matter. He's going to die too.
It just took them way too long to kill Lazy there in that instance. They had him caught out. They had him dead to rights. Granted, it's shielding, a little damage reduction, a little bit of healing from the shout as well. But you have 3 people shooting at Lazy, not able to kill him almost immediately. The rest of Natus Vincere capitalize on that, find the kills, and the Moonchopper assert dominance is going to land this time.
It is. They do find the kill on the Lazy again. This time a lot more quicker, but Hero goes down as well. I mean, man, it's like Natus Vincere. They're 1 for 1. Every time they get a kill, somebody else just falls flat. The through time and space almost hit Moonchopper. Doesn't find it though. Void Grip to lift them up, and the rest of it's all said and done. Phoenix ended up getting the kill.
Shadow luckily is able to trade one back here. Creative just lurking in the wings. Hero has to stay alive. He's the only one who's able to contest this point right now as overtime begins. Creatives, though, with so much uptime in this fight. Shadow getting Lazy again. That bodes pretty well for the Renegades.
Ooh, Invocal and Shadow, both of them getting these kills, man. The Dome Shield to cap out the point, and that will be it indeed. Because of that, they end up capturing the point.
They do, and they're moving forward here in this case. Almost detrimental that took them so long to kill off Lazy, but the return kills and the uptime, that's something that hasn't been so much in play in the rest of this set. It's been Natus Vincere trading out and then some on a lot of these deaths. The Renegades were able to effectively trade out the kills enough in this case. You get the frontliners out of the way early. You eliminate creatives as well. And as one-sided as this game has been, if this payload goes through, you're looking at 3-3.
Yeah, you are, and that's going to be a very big deal for them. I mean, just for Renegades in general to be able to even this up, and now with them having 3 ultimates, I also agree with that. That was a very nice shot. It got the damage off, and they were able to find the kill on the Hero. Now that the rest of them are coming out of spawn, they're coming back to where it was they were before. I mean, it's a little bit of downtime right now. No fighting happening yet. A few shots here and there, but nothing concrete.
I mean, if you're Natus Vincere here, you're just trying to fight. You literally just want to fight, maybe trade out some kills. You have to be careful because of how close this payload is. If you were to clean lose a fight, that cart starts rolling and rolling and rolling, and even 5 seconds gets it very close to your base. Another effective trade for the Renegades this time around. Mutu just being a little bit annoying in the back line of the Renegades. But Invocal has really saved this game, honestly, in a lot of ways for the Renegades. Despite dying first in that last mid-fight, he was able to come back, do enough damage, keep them in it. 13 kills for the Cassie has been so impactful for the blue side of this one.
Yeah, this isn't the first game it is that we've seen him do so well, too.
See
the overpower.
You can't be impactful if you're just being tossed off the map.
True.
And that's exactly what that is.
And Khan did say it, you're mine, little man. And so you felt very small as the rest of the map was growing smaller in the distance when you got thrown off the side. Fortunately, now that Invocal's down, that's a man down that they don't have in their team fight for Renegades. Gonna have to push a little bit forward. 30 seconds left on the clock. Just a few shots here and there.
Renegades are hoping to hold off on using too many of their ultimates. With 20 seconds left, I think they are pretty realistic about this. Good kills getting traded. But with honestly, it's much more important to look at the Natus Vincere kills here. This timer is likely going to trade out. The Renegades kills are honestly just kind of a consolation trying to get back to the payload. But for every 1 kill that Natus Vincere brings in these kind of intermittent fights, I'd say it's maybe doubly impactful of what the Renegades are able to bring if it's not a clean sweep, because it just delays the push so much further. The Renegades likely are not going to use anything here. Shadow opening up with a couple of kills, that actually changes this script a little bit. This gets a little bit closer, but Natus Vincere will have 5 ultimates. This is kind of a showdown, if you will. Whichever team starts to throw their ultimates first, the other one's going to look so much better. If you're Renegades and you ult, you better be damn sure that this payload goes in, because Natus Vincere going into the next mid-fight, they're not going to want to use anything here on defense.
100%, man. I mean, to use it this close to next round with the overtime timer
risky,
there. Yeah. Oh, jeez,
I mean, the payload,
man.
the overtime timer is going to evaporate, and that's exactly what happens there.
Okay.
Both teams, hands on the trigger, but keeps the guns in their pocket here, ultimate-wise. Going into this one, you'll have 5 ultimates strong on both sides. Natus Vincere, I don't think, ever would have used their ultimates in that case. Renegades maybe to tie it up, but the sort of silver lining for them, a reason they probably didn't invest too much on the back end of some shadow kills, is because you're looking at sort of a half fast cap mechanic. You still have an inherent advantage going in down 3-2 in the form of a 4% tick every other tick. So you wanna compound that with some good ultimate usage as well. Shadow did make it interesting. Shadow did with a nice double kill here, and maybe put the Renegades in the conversation of capping it. But they're still backs against the wall here. Brilliant fight back from the Renegades. It was looking like a 10-minute game again, and they fought back in a very good way.
Through time and space rips through, doesn't find anybody though. Moonchopper and the rest of them, they all have their ultimates online except for Scout. Now they know where everybody is. They're gonna try and plan accordingly. The heat haze comes through. Oh man, the damage from creatives though. Too much, and Hero's gonna get not destroyed, but like melted in that situation.
I mean, and Shadow doesn't die, but he's effectively out of the fight. He had 19 health. He can't show his head or else he's toast. Lots of grouped up members of the Renegades here. This could be a big fight for Natus Vincere.
Yeah, I mean, they're fighting on this bridge. Once again, they're trying to see if they can get the picks, get the damage they need. Shoulder bash comes through, but I mean, now that Shadow went down, it's already super low health. Dome Shield went down, but they got Spunky, and that's going to be big for Renegades.
Oh, no more healing either. It's a 2-for-2 trade. Make it a 3-for-2, but that's where the Renegades are going to get swept. You lose your healing. Hero's just trying to even things out. It's going to give his team a chance to respawn, get back into this fight, because Natus Vincere are only going to have 24%. Mutu dying is actually a lot more interesting for the Renegades now. A little bit more of an advantage for them, but no ultimates for anyone left in this game. Do or die for the Renegades.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot for them to be able to come back. 63% already there. Like you said, the comeback mechanic is innately there. Every other tick, there is 4%. All of the other ticks, they'll just be flat. They'll just be the natural rate.
Normal 3.
Yeah, the normal 3 it is that you get from that. So, I mean, it's still gonna be much of a climb. Once again, Shadow killing Mutu once more. That's gonna be big. And I just saw all of that. They went through. They got those kills. 3 kills, 4 for Renegades, and now they're gonna start all of this aggression. 79%, and it's gonna steadily climb. What is happening right now?
Talk about a pop-off moment for the Renegades. They're pushing with a chance to win this game right now. They looked like they didn't belong in this game. Through points 1 through 3. The frontliners for the Renegades, you cannot understate the impact they just had. They control that high ground, not allowing the damage dealers of Natus Vincere even a moment to breathe. And that sneaks up on you. Barrack damage, Ash damage, even without the Luminary boost. This is a good example of that. It's not only contingent on having a Luminary boost on your side. Having some Barrack damage, having some Ash damage, with an innately squishier composition that Natus Vincere have, that opens the doors for the Renegades to maybe start winning some of these fights.
Yeah, that's such a good point. They use the overpower, but at what cost? 2 are down for 1 on Moonchopper. The rest of them are looking pretty low, though. They do actually manage to get the kill. That's good, because it was like kind of concerning, because it was like, oh, I saw the overpower, but I saw everyone else on Natus Vincere dying. So, I mean, that's good. They came out sort of on top, or at least they reset the momentum with that.
Mutu as well. He died, respawned, and then immediately died again at the hands of Viral this time around. A much better push already formulating from the Renegades, not moving the payload just as of yet. Phoenix and Lazy were being annoying up in this high ground. Finally, you're going to start to make some progress. Shadow on this Shaolin. Quiet start to the game. 13, 11, 13. I got to imagine most of those kills have come in the last couple of rounds, most of the deaths earlier on in Vocal. Viral, everyone on Renegades starting to play this composition much better. You die so much, I mean 15, 16 deaths for your frontliners, but you're just absorbing so much. It's so hard to live against a triple DPS comp, and they played it much better.
Yeah.
Now you're getting to a point where Natus Vincere could lose this game if they lose too many in these next engagements.
Yeah, Hero might be going down though, but the healing from Aldamba is just so much. Creative's forced super low, runs right into Moonchopper. I don't think he was up there, but he does have to force himself off. Dome Shield goes down. The healing from Maldamba. Are you kidding me? No way! Renegades! Are they going to close this match out?
Watch out, Phoenix is still alive on the back end. So is Creatives. If he can find the kill, he has to blink in and get a touch on the payload, but I'm not sure it's enough.
The ice block, though, that's going to be enough for them to stall just a little bit more. The rest of them are going to come back. Yeah. Phoenix, nice presence to fire that off and kill Invocal. Viral's looking pretty low. He's going to have to back off, and that will be it. Oh, my goodness. This was so close. That was close.
It got very scary there for a moment. You eliminate the... Actually, honestly, the priority from the Renegades isn't bad by any means. I mean, you eliminate the targets that are presented to you, but then you're left with Phoenix, who's got the hot hand right now for Na'Vi. He's up on the high ground, Leon, free firing down low, and then Creatives. It's a traditional 1-2 composition. You have just a little bit too much damage still left up on the table. You eliminate Khan, which is huge. You get the Mutu wings clipped off a little bit. And this is a good example of where Moonchopper in these clutch moments comes up big, really controlling this high ground. Renegades to another 0.7. They won it last time they were on Stone Keep yesterday. They won 0.7.
Yeah.
Going up 3-2 in a set against Natus Vincere with a win here would be huge for the confidence of the Renegades. They only have the Scout, though, and Natus Vincere literally have everything except for Ice Storm.
The question is, who will come out stronger? Will Renegades, will O-Town Road win, or will the combination of the Monkey and the Penguin come through with this?
That's a missed overpower. Cross one ultimate off the list here. Through time and space, cross another one off the list. Ice Storm is going to get thrown at the wall as well. They had a huge advantage ultimate-wise, but have not made good on any of it.
The fact that they missed that's going to be pretty big because now they have Assert Dominance just sitting there, just waiting. The shots are coming through.
I'll take it in Assert Dominance over an Enlightenment
100%.
in this case. The area control that brings, I would say, more important. He's going to be able to stay alive. He's going to use it now, and Invocal finds the first kill.
Good job. They ended up getting the kill onto Lazy. Phoenix being all the way in the back. Hero taking some damage. That Wrecker putting in work, getting rid of that shield, forcing him off of the point, not allowing them to cap it as easily. Now that Mutu's gone, though, that's another member down. Lazy had just respawned. Now that they're on the point.
Yeah, but look at the way this ult economy flips. Natus Vincere used everything, got nothing. Renegades are still. They're just now recharging those ultimates that were not available at the beginning of this game. You're going to have a Heat Haze. Dread Serpent as well to buy some space. If Shadow's able to find a kill here, Renegades could win this game.
Yeah, they're going to have to go for Lazy, though. He's trying to push on. He's one of the ones they have to look out for. Eevee, too. And because of that, the Dread Serpent comes through. Enlightenment to keep herself CC immune, but nice shoulder bash. They trade 2 for 2 on that. This is getting down to the wire.
And it's a 2 for 2 trade right up to this point. Creatives is the last damage dealer, really in a good position for Natus Vincere. So much damage still left from the Renegades. Overtime is ticking away as the Dome Shield comes down.
They just got the Dome Shield and they kill Creatives. Viral. He ends up getting the kill. Mutu's all the way in the back for Renegades. They close that out on Stone Keep. They are up on set point right now against Na'Vi. Against Na'Vi.
I got nothing to say. That game, 8 minutes in, looked like Na'Vi. I distinctly remember saying this is going to be another 10-minute game where Na'Vi 4-0 sweep you. What a turnaround from the Renegades this time to flip this game on its head. That is a confidence boost if I've ever seen one because you lose 4-0, you lose 4-0, all single-digit minute games. It's looking dire. It's looking dire there for a minute, but the resilience, the persistence that these guys have, you got double-digit deaths almost in every single column if you're the Renegades right now, but they finally start to figure out how to fight back against this Natus Vincere composition. They need one more. Na'Vi need 2 more. Na'Vi need to win the same amount of games that they've already won. Renegades need 1 more. Believe it or not, to escape this week, 2-0.
Yeah, and that's going to be it. I mean, they're currently up 1 over Natus Vincere. They're on match point right now. Na'Vi has to make another comeback. They have to win this one. And you know what that means? We'll be at Game 7 if that happens. Stay tuned.
Paladins Premier League is brought to you by Evil Mojo, developers of Paladins.
Repeating patterns like the others. Meditation through the yoga lessons. Going greener by the minute. Soon I can't wear any other colors. Posters covering my walls, but they fall down. Diving deeper in the books that we read blind. Breathing in and breathing out to get smarter. Not working out for me, yeah. Got no money on my mind, tell my mommy I'm alright. Even laughing at the jokes you tell me. Keep myself inside the lines, leaving tidy all the time. If you ask me, I am fine. Got no money on my mind. Don't you worry about me. If I keep feeling like I'm
Well, it's another 23-minute 4-3, but Renegades claw their way right back and now have one step ahead of them to be able to try and close this out and find themselves a second
believe
win
it,
this
man.
split. Not only doubling their wins yesterday, but maybe doubling the amount of wins they've gotten in a split this year just by being able to find one more map.
Well, if there's a team that knows how to play from behind, you would certainly have to believe it's the Renegades, man. I mean, Navi were not only were they up 3-0, they were knocking on the door of the 4-0, right? Like it was really there was an Invocal triple kind of like from the high ground. If you can remember, it was like 20 minutes ago in game time. A lot of big numbers on this final scoreboard. But Navi were really, really at the finish line, just lost sight of it, lost focus for a second, lost that momentum, and it completely flip-flopped. Renegades were allowed back into this game, and they did not waste that opportunity.
And that 15-14-15 there for Shadow, it's a little misleading because not only, like you said, the damage numbers were incredibly big. Also, I'm going to have to give Shadow.
Honestly,
he did
everybody died
20,
a lot.
13, and 26, but 176,000 damage there for Phoenix. But Shadow, I think it's a lot of that. Those deaths were during the 3 points that Navi had early on.
Yeah.
And then a lot of those 15 kills were during the 4 points they slowly accrued themselves. But Invocal is going to be the one. Kind of, I want to say the two of them in tandem. Shadow was trying to do and kind of accomplished what we saw yesterday, where in Game 5, backs against the wall, he stepped up, but so did Invocal.
Yeah, there's a lot of moments. This is actually it right here. This is that triple kill. This is the moment the Renegades turn around. Look how damn close that payload is to going home. They kind of lost sight of it, and it's understandably so. If Navi had just gotten those frontliners killed a little bit sooner, they would have pushed this payload in. This game would have been over. But no, Invocal was allowed just a little bit of a window of opportunity to capitalize on this kind of distracted Navi lineup, and he absolutely teed off on them, gets that triple, and keeps them in the game.
And it's something that Renegades didn't have before, which I wouldn't say they necessarily choked their sets during the first split, but there were a lot of moments where in that moment that you don't get that performance out of Invocal. You don't get those kills, and you lose the game anyway. Now they are regularly finding those. Like,
let's be real. You're going to
putting
get
their
that
shields
performance out of Invocal.
Okay,
Somebody
out of
else
Invocal.
probably messed up.
If Shadow was that, Cassie, it's hit or miss.
He would have missed
maybe.
his shots,
He
kid.
would have missed the shots. But now you have that choice. If you're Navi, you have to kind of figure out. You have, well, now Splitstone Quarry
Dude,
on the
look
list.
at these scores.
Not that many maps
Ugh.
left. But I will say the one thing, like, Renegades, they're winning. And I am thoroughly impressed with it, but it's 4-3, 4-3, 4-3. Those are their 3 wins. 4-0, 4-0 for Navi. So it's just one of those things where it's like,
The quickness.
you have to wonder if Navi finds a 4-0 here and it goes to Game 7. Like, at least they're doing it fast, but if Renegades, maybe you're starting to feel that pressure.
Splitstone Quarry is where we will head. Genos and Torvald have already taken a seat. And this is one to pay close attention to in the draft. I think Splitstone is, for my money, one of the harder maps to draft on, because I feel you can draft a good composition to fight in that sort of cavern, bleacher, fidget spin area, whatever you want to call it. But you can really be abused if you're not careful, if you allow a lot of vertical mobility to go to your enemies to dominate the rest of the map. And though you have like this power composition to kind of start point fights and end payload pushes, it's really that intermediary area of Splitstone Quarry that you're going to struggle on. Navi are going to kick things off with the Ashe. Again, based on what we've seen today, this could mean a myriad of compositions for them. It's about those next couple defining. Ashe is no longer a defining pick for Navi, as Lazy has completely and totally absorbed it into his champion pool. Could still be something for Phoenix, though. Again, they're trying to stay as ambiguous as possible through their first couple of picks.
This is one of those maps yesterday Navi picked. It was game 4 while they were going up against Envy. And it wasn't really a tide turner. It was just 2-1. That's a map they know they can win. You have to go here. You have to go here. They do like it, though, so they have that win rate kind of up on the up and up for them as of right now. And again, looking at it, like they've been flexing around, looking at the draft for yesterday as well. It was the Ashe, Cassie, Genos, Leon, Willow. Like they really wanted that triple DPS. And all those champions are still available for them right now, except for the Genos, which might kind of throw a wrench in their plan.
Earlier today, Renegades would have been taking Genos Barrack in that spot. Barrack is available. Genos has been banned, but I think they're making good mid-set adjustments now, realizing, and this is what they kind of lacked in that game 2, game 3 sort of thing. They were trying to just throw the same counters at Na'Vi, who had already adjusted very clearly, I think, indicated by those 4-0 game 2 and game 3 score lines. But now you're seeing those adjustments. You're seeing the Maeve, the Khan taken away. Invocal's had a good day on Maeve, so has Mutu, so it's a double-edged sword. You're not only taking it away from Mutu, but you're giving it. You're giving those reins to Invocal. Cassie Damba, frankly, still kind of ambiguous for Navi. A lot of people could play a lot of these picks.
And it's just another step forward where it's just like, if we want to, we can go, we'll grab an Inara. Like, I doubt she's going to be grabbed up here. And even if she is, then all of a sudden, okay, we'll grab the Barrack. Like, both the point tanks being available means there's a little bit more flexibility for Navi. And I think that's perfect, because when you're in first pick, you have the glory of getting that first champion, no matter what. You always get the number one priority you want. But you do kind of leave yourself open for that counter pick at the very end. We've seen it happen every now and then where that 10th pick will change the tide of the game. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But kind of keeping 8th and 9th there open for Navi allows them to pretty much return fully 4 members of what Renegades have.
Are these all your all the drafts from all the games up on the computer right now? What has Viral played today outside of Genos? Has he played any Damba yet?
Let's see. Genos. This game they banned it. Played
Maldamba.
Maldamba.
Stranger.
Then Damba, yeah. So 2 Dambas, 3 Genoses.
So he's got to flex out of, whatever his comfort zone is today. Whether it's a Furia, could be a Grover. I mean, Grover is not off limits on Splitstone Quarry by any means. But the problem is what they've picked so far with Maeve and Eevee. Probably likely to go towards the Furia just for the ability to heal those tiny little flankers flying around in the air, high in the sky. And into it, Leon Willow will be picked up in response. Renegades don't really have a great answer for the Willow when she's up in the sky.
Well, they only played her 1 game yesterday, but assuming they do flex over the Furia here, they did lose that game. And that's the only real stat I have behind that is just Maldamba, Genos, something that they have been kind of hovering towards a little bit more often. That's where they want to go if you're Renegades. And so Furia, this is either going to make or break that stat sitting on them, but she is pretty much the next support. On Splitstone, we have seen some Saris, but I just don't think she's going to come through today.
Yeah, man, I don't think really anyone's feeling Saris much right now. There was a time when her ultimate was very, very strong, very quick to pull, essentially, is what was changed about that a lot of people picked it up. In between the nerf to that, which was a long time ago, very, very long time ago, and now it's really just the guys that have that like personal preference for her. Kind of like the Andro spot where it's doable, but you need the map for it, you need a decent draft for it, and you need a player that just personally prefers it.
And before, I mean, her having Mortal Reach, that 300% increase like range was awesome for maps like Splitstone.
Yeah,
and
it's kind of what she had over Furia.
Yeah,
they're sisters, right? Cool. That's like the lore behind them.
So
that's sister rivalry.
Furia is just saying anything you can do, I can do better.
Exactly.
And now she's got damage amp and the range to be able to kind of keep it going. So they have the flanks, Maeve and Eevee. It's an interesting composition from Renegades. It's a triple DPS here from Na'Vi. Let's go down to the casters and see how this game shakes out.
Oh, game 6. Renegades versus Na'Vi. They are up an entire game. That music is intense.
It is. Some of these maps, the ice maps specifically, have some very intense music behind them. This is an interesting position the Renegades are in right now because all things considered, they have a game in hand right now. You're not going to lose. You have 2 chances to win 1 game if you're the Renegades. Honestly, they're used to, I think, fighting from we need to win 2 or 3 straight in order to have a chance in this set. They're now maybe needing to get used to having a game up. They just need to close out 1 more game. You know, beating Kanga, a great start to this split for them. Beating Na'Vi, I don't think anybody could have written it better for the Renegades boys. It's all going to come down to Splitstone, and if Na'Vi win it 1 more after that, the Renegades are going to look to get things done here in this game.
I mean, they're holding up on the high ground. We see 2 of them. Oh, man, Moonchopper getting the first kill on the Phoenix, though. That flank being so strong, especially when you have Eevee and Maeve. Both of them coupled on this map are so strong, and now the rest of them are being forced to fight by Fidget Spinners. Creative's the next one to go down, 15% on the point for Renegades, and now they're might kill Spunky, and they do. Moonchopper, I believe that was an unofficial triple or something?
I think it was. I think Moonchopper has 3 kills already in this game. Not only is Khan good in general, he's very good here on Splitstone Corey. He can demand so much respect. Gets down in that bleacher area underneath by the Fidget Spinners. You got to watch out. His overpower, if you really want to look into it. Lots of environment hazards that you can toss people into. Up and over. Nice shots here from Shadow.
Wow.
I don't think Lazy was expecting that to come through. Now you have no point tag from Natus Vincere. You're relying on your damage dealers to keep you in this game.
84% onto the point for Renegades. This is the first time they've been forced to back off of the point and on this fight, like during this game. But now Phoenix, being on the left side, is going to have to back out a little bit more. I know Eevee wants a Moonchopper, finishes it off. The rest of them are applying the pressure. 96%. Nice block, preventing her from moving forward to get onto the payload. The kinetic burst comes out, knocks the Inara off of the point.
It's not gonna
but
matter,
it's not going to matter. That's what I'm
just
saying. Look at the red showing up in the kill feed.
Oh my,
Oh
Renegades.
my goodness.
They're feeling close. They're feeling like they could do it, and they certainly can. They strike first here on Splitstone Quarry. Enough praise cannot be tossed onto Moonchopper for the way he's handled this front lineup to the start of this game. Big game from him right off the bat. Already a 7 streak, just 2 minutes in. But as well, I want to give props to Shadow. Invocal's hitting his daggers, but Shadow has made the entirety of the Natus Vincere roster so uncomfortable. A good Dread Serpent's going to deliver him into the waiting hands of Mutu. But you saw an example of Lazy. Suddenly Shadow blinks into your face. You have no idea where you can live. Phoenix, same thing, blinks around those corners. He's not making life easy for anyone right now. And that Moonchopper Shadow 1-2 is playing off so well for the Renegades.
Yeah, 4 ultimates up on their side. As you mentioned, the Renegades, 4 ultimates are up on the Renegade side. The overpower, he does get
Into
Phoenix.
the lava.
That's going to mean a lot. One of them is down. Phoenix being gone means that they're going to try and push forward now.
And Phoenix has been kind of a
Ooh.
hyper-important part of the triple DPS. Mutu, great play to get rid of Viral, arguably the best target you can look for if you're at a disadvantage. Clip all of the healing, allow the poke that you do to just be that much more impactful. Phoenix back in the fight. Ooh, good flick shot there from Mutu. Things are going to stall out here a little bit for the Renegades. This is what they'll use. They'll use this as a time maybe just to charge up some ultimates, put yourself in a good spot. Splitstone, traditionally hard map to push on. This is not one that they'll feel like is a lost point, maybe lost opportunity. Of course, you want to push it in, but not that easy every single time. So Natus Vincere with a good hold. The Renegades maybe just charge up some ultimates for the next mid.
They're throwing out a few daggers here and there. They're doing really well with just keeping up this pressure, but Phoenix, oh man, he almost killed Invocal. The healing though, not only from Furia, but just from the cards that he has, I believe, which is he heals off of pounds. Can we actually see Invocal's cards real quick? Can we actually look at those? Yeah, I'm actually...
He's got 6 cents for a little bit of damage reduction, prowl, a little bit of extra movement speed as well. It's the walk it off at level 2, heal for a little bit when you're using your prowl as well. So sort of leaning into the prowl, but then the damage reduction ever so important. Using that dash, 25% of the damage is going to be mitigated, allowing him just to play a little bit more freely, maybe a little bit more aggressively, especially up into the face of somebody like Phoenix. I'm going to pounce gladly into your face. You can't be too overly aggressive, but you realize that you maybe have a little bit more mobility, a little bit more longevity than you would otherwise. Good kill from Moonchopper on the Lazy, the Inflame as well. Renegades are looking to go. Renegades are looking to go up 2-0 as well.
No way. Phoenix goes down. The next one to be fallen is Creatives. They are up 2-0 against Na'Vi. If they cap and push this one more time, Renegades just won 4-2 against Na'Vi.
That's a dream start. It's a dream start from the Renegades. You get teams that are kind of at different ends of the spectrum. You get to dip your toes in the water. You know, I heaped some praise onto the Eevee. I heaped some praise onto Moonchopper, but Invocal had a half himself. It looked like this payload was stalled out, honestly. It looked like it was not going to move very far forward. This is him on that mid-fight, hitting his daggers. And that's the name of the game. I mean, look at these shots.
Wow.
3 attempts, 3 auto attacks, basically. Throws out a couple daggers each time. But 3 iterations of a primary attack there from Invocal. Does not miss a single one, and it's not like a stationary target. You're not yeeting into an Inara who's standing still on the point. That's Mutu who's moving in the air in the opposite direction of you, and Invocal who's also in the air trying to balance all of that.
Oh my gosh,
Great
good
target yet again.
overpower.
Everything for the Renegades is working right now.
Nice job. Shadow providing a little bit of a body block. He's not doing it too much. The Dread Serpent comes through for Natus Vincere. They do manage to finally clip the wings of Invocal. That's going to be pretty big. Now Moonchopper's looking next on the menu. Battle Shot to come through, but followed by the Ice Storm. Everyone's so low. No kill. Spunky goes down. So does Creatives. Phoenix dies. Not Phoenix. Phoenix doesn't die. He ends up killing Moonchopper. Excuse me. But Lazy goes down in his replacement. And Mutu just taking these shots from the ground. Oh my goodness.
And Hero got 2 kills in that fight, but the final nail in the coffin was a beautiful wall up against Lazy. He forced Lazy to stay in the exact position that he was in. No escape for the Ashe. The solo tank now staggered out just a little bit. 99% for the Renegades. Natus Vincere have to get a touch. It's going to come in the form of Lazy, but they have no one else to contest.
Oh my goodness. Overtime for the Renegades. Mutu tries to dash on, but did he just miss? Okay, no. Okay, they did get it.
They're just throwing bodies at this point. They have to get a touch. They have no staying power. You have to have Lazy up, but Lazy went before the rest of the team was ready. Renegades are up 3-0 with a chance to push for the win against Na'Vi.
I don't know what to say right now. Like, I'm trying to find the words to describe what it is that I'm feeling. Renegades is currently up. There's the end flame. They want to go in. They want this point. They want the game.
They're looking to end it right now. Creatives is the first to go down. Moonchopper as well, still alive. Gets a good bit of healing from Furia right now. Mutu is able to draw things back just a little bit. But an important answer back from Hero keeps the Renegades in this fight.
Yeah, they're still on the payload. Ice Storm, that was such good positioning from Shadow. He got spunky. Are they going to get Lazy? They are. He can't even land on the ground. They're going to find Phoenix next. A minute 45 and the payload is almost in.
Overpower, Seismic Crash still available for the Renegades here. So much CC could still win them this game. Another kill onto Mutu. This payload is inching ever closer. The Renegades could end it right now.
No way. Na'Vi is so far back. They are being pushed in so hard. The overpower, he ends up missing it though. Seismic Crash comes through. They find Phoenix. They know who to deal with. They get rid of him. Lazy is next. He tries to shoulder bash, but he's going to go down as well. Renegades. Oh my goodness. The Dread Serpent comes through and they do end up getting the stun. Moonchopper about to go down, and he does. Oh my gosh. That was heart stopping right there.
But look at this. Fine, they still have a minute left in this game. That feels like a game-ending fight. That feels like overtime, but the Renegades a hair's breadth away from getting this one into a 4-0 win. They just need one more team fight. If they can find Lazy first, that might end this game. You're going to have to rely on Mutu. Mutu had a beautiful double kill. No more Dread Serpent from Spunky. Ultimates may be back on cooldown for the Renegades here towards the end of this fight. Getting Lazy, the first pick onto the point contestant. Assert dominance could stall things out as well. Plenty of room to play with if you're the Renegades. You don't have to sail out for the point right now, but you want to end this game.
Phoenix is low on the left. They know the Enlightenment. He dodged. The damage reduction is working really, really well for him. He doesn't need to fight to kill, but both him and Shadow get wiped out at the exact same time. 15 seconds. The point is being contested. Natus Vincere are wiping them clean right now. 10 seconds left on the clock. It's not going to be enough for them to make it all the way back, with Phoenix closing this one out with the triple kill.
3, 2, Whew. All right, you can take a deep breath because we got at least we got at least one more of those to go through here as we get down to this final mid-fight. And like I said, they used the ultimates early enough, the Renegades did, in that last fight. Nearly got it in. A minute left, was burned off by Natus Vincere. Overpower's going to be ready for this next mid-fight. Dread Serpent will be around ready as well, but the saving grace was Mutu here in this case. Look at all those kills. Everything for the Renegades. It's a 3 versus 2, but Mutu stays alive. A beautiful Dread Serpent from Spunky as well. keeps things somehow in favor of Natus Vincere. It was literally Spunky and Mutu against the world in that case, and they come out on top to save this set. Natus Vincere, the damage numbers may be a little bit skewed because they were defending so heavily this entire game. They've just been absorbing pressure. Renegades 1 point away still. Overpower, Inflame, Ice Storm, all will be ready. Only Assert Dominance ready for Natus Vincere. An immediate advantage for the Renegades.
They want the aggression. They're forcing Hero off of the point just a little bit. Mutu and the rest of them, both teams, like right now, I can tell, like their nerves are like high, like they're taking their time. They're not going in immediately. They're just going in for the little pokes here and there. Hero looking super low, didn't end up going for it. They can't end up getting the kill. Commander's grab trying to get out of there, but the cauterize, nice job coming out from Moonchopper. He was able to block the damage, the remain damage that they needed.
Wow,
and then
Vocal
lives.
stays alive as well.
Man, oh man, this is a fight for the ages.
No more Assert Dominance now. They use the Assert Dominance to try to get in Vocal, but they don't do it. You haven't used your Overpower yet. You haven't used your Seismic Crash yet. Ice Storm, Inflame, everything for the Renegades. Dread Serpent, Scout, maybe toss that one out the window here on a mid-fight. Renegades have the tools to finish this game.
Yeah, they do, but it looks like Shadow's in a bad spot, and because of that, they were able to get the kill on Shadow and on Invocal. The Overpower comes through. They kill Phoenix, but at what cost, though? 48%. Two of them are down on the own side of Renegades. I don't know what they're going to be able to do here, but that is a start to something.
That maybe just keeps things stalled out. Faithlight from Mutu is going to start this one off, trying to find the kill onto Moonchopper around this backside. Moonchopper in such an awkward spot. The stun is likely going to result in the kill, but they pop the Inflame. They want to turn this fight on its head.
They do. There's the Ice Storm as well. One kill goes to Shadow, another goes to Hero. Spunky's the only one that's really trying to fight back along with Phoenix, the Enlightenment. But it's not going to be enough. He doesn't find anybody. You kill him. Now Spunky's left. You kill him as well.
72%.
72% on the point for Renegades. They have to close this one out. This will be the last fight that decides it.
If you get creatives here, it might be game over. They might just do it 99%. They do it. They don't just beat Kanga. They then bounce back. You beat Na'Vi the next day, and they do it even more convincingly than day number one.
Oh my goodness, the wall. I didn't mention that because I didn't know if it was going to be that heavy, but that wall, he knew somebody was going to try and dash. He knew lazy somebody was going to try and shoulder bash or get right onto the point, and that wall stopped them. Oh my goodness.
That is two opposite sides of the emotional spectrum. Complete disbelief in one booth, complete disbelief for another reason. You can see on their faces how much each individual game means to these guys. Individual wins. That almost brings a tear to your eye. Watching how you react to a win this big. This is a team that has been back against the wall the entire split. They are 1-13. Wow. 1-13 coming into split number 2. You beat Kanga yesterday, and then you beat Na'Vi. On the desk, everyone. This is a 4-0 for Na'Vi, top to bottom. No chance for the Renegades. Not only do they win, they do it in 6 games this time instead of 7 like they did against Kanga yesterday.
Man, oh man, what a story to tell. This second split is just so full of surprises, man. I mean, the roster changes to this. If you would have told me that Renegades would have taken that over Na'Vi of all people, and not only that, but 4-2 with a 2-game lead, that is absolutely ridiculous.
Absolutely crazy. Set number 2 of the day. That goes the way of the Renegades. Take your breath because we got one more, but first we'll send it back to the desk.
Well, I first want a little bit of credit from Dave. I said 4-1 for Na'Vi, not 4-0. Either way, I like being wrong. In this kind of circumstance, I love being wrong because they've doubled the amount of wins they got in Split 1 just in 2 days. If you had said coming out of this, Renegades were going to be 1-1, people would have laughed at you. Now saying that they're coming in 2-0, nobody would have believed you.
I mean, how long could they lose for, man? There's got to be a turning point somewhere for the Renegades, and it seems like they might be cresting that hill as they do it in 6 over Na'Vi. Oof. A lot of damage now. They Na'Vi'd Na'Vi, man. Look at that. More damage on the field for Natus Vincere. Kind of a wacky game. 0-9 for Lazy, 2-9 for Spunky, 5-13 for Creatives. Tough games for sure. 12-10 for both Mutu and Phoenix. They were able to pull some of their weight, but at the end of the day, the Renegades stand tall.
Normally we say Invocal and give some slash line, Shadow and some slash line. Both of them were 11 and 8. They both did really well. How about 15 and 3 here for Hero being able to come through and perform? And we've talked about him in the past. Like at the end of Split 1, I feel like he started having those like showcase moments where it was like, okay, this is a guy who can play. This is just another merit to add on to that. I mean, this was
while pushing
ridiculous
the payload
from him.
I mean, he's doing it. This was a great moment as well. I love this target swap on a Lazy. It's a small thing, but you can see him, you know, Creatives is very, very low, kind of rolls back towards a teammate, eventually dies. So Hero target swap before he was even dead on the Lazy and immediately gets back on the point, realizing there's a lot at stake here. I mean, we could put the set away. We're already off to a good start on the objective. They have the comeback mechanic. This is the most efficient play that I can make.
And a beautiful wall. I didn't even notice that one at the end, just to stop that dash in from Ash to make sure the overtime touch didn't happen. And honestly, the way he played, like you could watch that entire point fight back, and it kind of felt like he had a chain and a tether that was locking him. Like he could only go a certain distance.
He could go around,
the
but
point,
not too far.
But it was just like, and because of that, you could see him focus like, okay, I can get this kill, fall back. Get this a little bit of damage here. Okay, no, they're too far. Let's go this way. Like just playing around the objective in a way that they haven't done it before, and they've managed to triple that number in the left-hand column. 3 and 13 now for the Renegades. This is looking like it's going to be a very interesting split.
Now they're kind of breathing down the necks of the Knights. I mean, this evens up things at the 2 and 3 spot as well. Na'Vi and Envy much closer than they would have been otherwise. If Envy were able to win that game yesterday, I mean, forget about it. The league is in a very tumultuous spot right now. NIP, they're at the top still, but I mean, anything could happen, it seems, as the Renegades take down the number 2 seed.
Well, when we saw him on camera right afterward, it looked like there was a lot of emotion coming down from the team being able to find a monumental win like this. But now we have Hero, we have Shadow standing by to just hear how they're feeling after such a huge win.
All right, boys, back here in the second time in the span of 2 days, this time on the back of a huge win against Na'Vi. We could see it a little bit on the cameras. What are the emotions like right now? Obviously, you beat Kanga yesterday. That's got to be a great feeling. But a 4-2 win, even more convincing than yesterday over Na'Vi. What are the emotions like right now?
I feel so happy. Like, if you told me coming into this weekend we'd go 2-0, I'd call you crazy. I wouldn't believe that at all. If you told me we could beat Kanga, yeah, I mean, I could see that. But Na'Vi, I didn't have any hopes at all. And being able to show up and beat them 4-2, I'm so fucking happy.
So with that being said, I mean, like, once again, I mean, Dave already put it in an amazing way. Like, Na'Vi being the Titans it is that they are, no one really expected the win to happen in the way it did. Like you said, 4-2, very, very commanding lead. So well played by all you guys. What is it that you guys did? Did you guys decide to change anything up? How was it like going from game to game to game? Like the draft, not necessarily the draft process, but what was it you guys were really feeling from that point? Like to feel like you guys could actually win this. Did you guys still think, even when you had like a two-win lead, did you guys still think that you could win this one?
Even when we went down 2-0, or when we lost those 2 maps and we just got rolled, like I felt something. I felt like these guys, like, we can still come back. Like, I believe in my team. And as soon as like we kept like getting the points back and we started coming back on Stone Keep, I'm like, this is gonna happen. Like, we're actually gonna do it.
Shadow, is it easier to kind of get rolled in those middle games, or is it harder to lose in like those 4-3 situations?
It's definitely, I'd say it's harder. It's like, I don't know, you're literally everywhere during those like high intense moments, and I don't know, we just glad we won it and we brought it back. So
Yeah, I mean, you've been a big part of this team. Frankly, this team's been around for a while, and you've never been a successful team. Shadow, you're really the difference this year for this squad. First a substitute, now kind of a mainstay on the roster. In your eyes, what has changed from Phase 1 to Phase 2 to now seemingly make the Renegades a threat to anyone in this league?
It just comes down to like just mentality, right? Phase 1, everything was still new. People were still adjusting to a new player. So literally me, I came in, and then after Phase 1, we knew like this is not cutting it. Like something needs to change. In Phase 2, we came new mentality. We came prepared. A lot of comments about us. Despite all that, we don't care about what people are gonna think about us. We know ourselves as a team. We know our strengths. And so we came today and we showed how we played.
I think resilience is definitely a word I would use to describe you guys. You've had some tough moments in phase one, coming so close on a lot of these 7-game sets. Hero, you seem to, you're getting up a lot in this booth. You're amping these guys up. Do you see yourself as kind of taking the reins and wanting to be a leader for this squad?
Yeah, I've been the captain this whole time, but I really want to emphasize that and boost my guys up.
Own that role.
When stuff gets down. On the roll, yeah.
It's a little in jest, but was Powtech the problem?
Maybe.
We love him. We know him. Congratulations, guy. I mean, this has got to be one of the best upsets of the year. You finally got it done in 6 games, no less. Congratulations to you all. But that's not it, folks. We got one more great set on the docket for you today. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Skillshot, the official production partner of the Paladins Premier League.
For the record, for the record, for the record, for the record. Been a little too nice to y'all. Now I gotta up price on y'all. Snake eyes on dice for y'all. Shoulders on ice for y'all. H6 all the hate. I won't get involved today. Got lost in the ball and A's. I'm flipping the bars. I'm flipping the. On record, off record. I still count wins when they doubt it. On record, off record. I let them take advantage. I was wildin'. On record, off record deals. Tell them talk to Colin for the quote. On record, off record. I still want to act, not the ghost. For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, you ain't trying to grow, then it's done for you. For the record, lab on me going all the way. For the record, ain't trying to link, no time to waste. Running through it with the young influence, adolescent presence, I'm succumbing to it. I've been giving yeses when I shouldn't do it. I complete objective, but the moves elusive, and I'm barely moving, but I'm still gon' boost them. I can't work on winners when I know you're losing, so I work the winners and they throw the deuces. Guess I had to pivot, shooting no bazookas for the facts. I need racks, paper cash, fuck a tax, that's a joke. Tell them laugh, Uncle Sam, fuck out the bag. Brody plot, forget a whack, contract, give me the max. I got laugh on my back, you ain't that, then it's raps. Whoa, whoa, whoa. For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, you ain't trying to grow, then it's done for you. For the record, lab on me going all the way. For the record, ain't trying to link, no time to waste. Facts, I need racks, paper cash, fuck a tax, that's a joke. Tell them laugh, Uncle Sam, fuck out the bag. Brody plot, forget a whack, contract, give me the max. I got laugh on my back, you ain't that, then it's raps. Whoa, whoa, whoa. For the record, I'm done trying to make y'all comfortable. For the record, you ain't trying to grow, then it's done for you. For the record, lab on me going all the way. For the record, ain't trying to link, no time to waste.
Welcome back, and thanks for sticking around. Hopefully you've caught your breath after that last one, because the Renegades, with arguably the biggest upset in the PPL so far this season, take it 4-2 over Navi. But that's not all the action we got for you today. We've got one more. I'm on the desk joined by none other than Pretty Hair here for set number 2. And this is a similar set. Lots of good, fun storylines to look at, but kind of for different reasons. Lots of roster swaps, some old teammates going up against one another today.
Very excited to watch this one. I mean, this was the biggest question. I asked it in the booth with Penna after they won the MSI. I'm like, are you guys staying together? Are you going to try to get this team in the league? And I think in an ideal world they probably would have, but it's tough. There was no spot, right? It's like, nobody was just going to completely kick their team and take all of Penta.
I'm not going to not go to the PPL in exchange for having to stick together with them. If I'm getting offered to a team, I'm going to take it.
I think that's kind of what it came down to. Rumors swirl around, people offers on the table for a couple of different guys for a couple of different places. Ultimately, they have to go their separate ways. Bolka, the only one not picked up. Everybody else found their spot.
Yep.
We saw the debut of a couple of these Penta guys today. It's K Cruncy and it's Arrays. I'm very excited to see them.
Well, of course, we saw a little bit of a look at the new Pittsburgh Knights roster yesterday. The top 2 teams in the league struggling a little bit against the bottom 2 teams in the league up to this point. They take NIP to 7 games. They do lose yesterday. But this is a new, revamped, refreshing look at the Pittsburgh Knights roster. Their drafting even looked a little bit different, a little bit better yesterday. This is going to be a tight matchup. That guy there on your screen, though, Simsalou, you got to expect big things. That was
wow.
That was weird.
Uncanny.
I didn't want to break there, but
the timing is weird.
the moment
I think that scared us a little bit.
It did.
He's about to claw his way out of the TV.
Of course, why don't you run us down some of the swaps that Virtus Pro had on the opposite side? Some of the teammates that Simsaloo is going up against today.
Yeah, so you saw the roster was announced yesterday. K Crunchy and Array stepping in for Hecate and Pule Ule. So K Crunchy will be filling that off-tank role, same as he was on Penta, but now for Virtus Pro. And, of course, the MVP from the MSI himself. The man who has never even been to a Paladins land before shows up, wins the damn thing, and takes that MVP trophy home.
There's an MVP for good reason. I mean, with so many different options to look at the MSI, you go Simsaloo, maybe it's Accentra, Bolka had some great plays as well, but Erase just had an absurd performance the entire series. The Torvald bubble on the Leon gives him a little bit of an extra boost, but you got to make good on it when you're given a boost like that. You have to be able to perform, and even without it, whether it's the Cassie, whether it's the Leon, I mean, the flexibility is there as well for this guy. I'm expecting him to bring a fresh look to this Virtus Pro lineup.
I mean, they basically put the Torvald Leon on the map, this minor league team
Yeah,
did.
that's true.
Penta has been largely dissolved and their players largely absorbed into the PPL. It's going to be a great day, I think, to watch and just to get a barometer for how these guys perform. And you look at who they were with, and, you know, there's a lot of big names now on that Penta, or were on that Penta roster, but now sitting aside, you know, Fasheko. I mean, come on, there's a lot of pressure, I think, on this roster to perform because they are certainly star-studded now.
I don't want to ask you to overextend, but do you think it's a net increase for Virtus Pro adding these two guys, the plus-minus they had, or maybe just a lateral move, a different look at a roster?
Yeah, I think Hecate is great, and I think Pule Ule can be as well. I think the problems with those two on this team was more so to do maybe with some of the language barrier, getting along, fitting in, approaching the game is the same way, and all of that's, it might, you know, sound a little petty, but frankly, it's a huge portion of the game. Yeah. Getting along with your teammates, wanting to collaborate and corroborate with them outside of game, approaching the game and thinking that you should draft the same way, play the same way, pop ults in the same way. You know what I mean? You have to all be on the same page. It was a huge part of kind of what we learned. Ricotta gave his insight on that as well. If you guys don't all trust each other in a game like Paladins, there's just no chance of success.
Speaking of Ricotta, we sat down with him, and in that interview, he was, and I mentioned this during their set a bit yesterday, they were expecting to really start meshing, really start swinging into form, you know, a few weeks from now. Maybe their fourth, fifth game into this split. Maybe that's when they start to hit their stride. The showing they had yesterday, I think, tells a little bit of a different story. I think they're already feeling confident with some of the changes.
Well, they're already better. I don't know if
That's
it's their final form. I'm really excited to see what these guys turn into. Zarini as well. Not from Penta, from Sour Team, though, one of the other European minor league squads. This guy's got a lot of history in the PPL now, being a sub-in for Na'Vi. He played very well in those 2 weeks, I might add. Goes home. Unfortunately, kind of starts to get a little bit run out of town by Penta in the minor league. They just completely dominated from there on out. Dose-ups as well. Again, an all-star roster on VP. There's really getting to the point where there's just so much talent in this league. Everyone's going at everyone. It's really about that performance and how you mesh. So, again, VP, get rid of Hecate and Pule Ule. Not necessarily even because of performance. We've seen Hecate and Pule Ule both independently performing at a higher level than what Virtus Pro was able to put up. But it's just that they didn't get along and they didn't mesh so much with this team. Incredible players. Fully expect to see them back in the league at some point soon.
Agreed.
And just on a different squad.
Well, this is going to be something interesting to look into. Of course, these guys kind of splitting, namely Simsaloo, Erase, and Crunty, all coming from Penta, the MSI winning team. How does that play into it now? You're going up against old teammates. Do you think they know about enough of Simsaloo's habits that they maybe can identify some of that, or is that not really how that works?
No, I think that's a part of it, but I want to say it's most likely a net wash because everything that they know about Simsaloo probably knows about them in turn. K Cruncy, somewhat of a minor, redemption arc for him as well. Suspended from the minor league for a few weeks during the first phase, gets back in. Turns up with the boys and, makes it to land, has an incredible performance. I think obviously learning from that experience, some of that with Fasheko, I think, as well. He came into the league young, on a very good team, kind of expecting to perform. He gets his little reputation as Toxeco. He's starting to kind of learn that's probably not the way I need to conduct myself. He even said it on Twitter this morning. I'm not that anymore. I'm going to wash my hands clean of that reputation. I think to some extent it's a coming of age for a lot of these younger guys as well. Tenor I would throw into that pool as well.
Yep.
He's a guy that came in on a very successful team as a very young kid and kind of had to learn the hard way that it's not all sunshine and rainbow. So Cruncy's certainly facing some adversity, but he's here now. He's ready to play, hopefully a better person for it, and hopefully can service Virtus Pro and their needs of a world-class off-tank.
And in a team that you can be now getting slotted into with so much veteran talent on their side. You're playing with Vex, the likes of Vex and Dosups now, and Fasheko. I mean, these are guys who've been there. They've done that. I mean, you look at maybe a plug-and-play roster with enough to build up maybe a little bit of that new blood on their side.
Right.
Virtus Pro is certainly the type that can do that. They can elevate E-Rays and Cruncy, even with maybe some of those growing pains with new teammates. Having those three around you, I think, help mesh over a little bit of that.
Yeah, I mean, Virtus Pro, even in Phase 1 for the most part, just kind of felt like a powder keg roster. You're
That's
like,
true.
some days they come in and they just whoop everybody in the building, and then other days they come in and look like a wet pool noodle. And you're just like, well, okay, there's something here. We just got to figure out what it is and how to consistently harness that. And I think hopefully with these roster changes, clearly they feel good about them because they dropped
Agreed.
some of the best players to ever do it to make these changes. Perhaps, recency bias, we'll see. MSI, is a very telling story about, it's really more about this team rather than the individuals and the superstars that come together. When you got a minor league team that has a substitute player and one guy who has never even been to a LAN before toppling everybody, to me, it simply can't be an off day for everybody who lost.
I know,
them.
you're
You know
right.
what I mean? I don't buy that excuse. I really think there was something special there with Penta. Rukata said, they played those matches in their sleep. They knew everything inside and out. I tend to, just the way my brain works, I want to quantify it somehow. I want to point to something.
I can't throw my hand. Well, that's just the way.
Oh, Cinderella stories are great, aren't they? No, there's something going on behind the scenes, something making that Penta machine tick. And these players are absolutely deserving of all of their spots, and I'm super happy that it happened, to be honest.
Absolutely. Well, 3 of the 5 are in this matchup here. Let's look over at the Knights. We saw a first look at that roster yesterday. Again, I mean, the competitiveness of the league in general cannot be understated just from Split 1. I mean, you look at the top 6 teams.
Yeah.
Of course, NIP only lost twice, Navi only a couple of losses, but so many close games throughout that split. Now we're seeing big changes in the bottom 2 teams. Renegades, no roster changes, but beating one of the best teams in the league. And then Kanga, who's standing-wise about middle of the road. So there's one team that's now suddenly very competitive. And then Knights, they look suddenly a lot more competitive as well, taking NIP to 7 games yesterday. Do you think that now this is a roster? I think Rakata said maybe 4th, 5th is kind of where their sights are set, just given the standings not resetting. Do you think that's realistic maybe for this Knights roster?
I think that is realistic, and that's probably about as far as they could make it. Even you start to get into mathematically where could they climb to. You win every game. They say you almost lost every game last phase, so you're going to wash out somewhere in the middle regardless. I think 5th place is frankly still shooting high. It's improving not 1 but 2 spots for the Knights over the course of this phase. But I think it's where they should set their goals. You don't want to set your goals at an unrealistic place, and I think they're right where they need to be for the most part. I really like this Knight squad. I think they have a good combination of players.
Agreed.
I really enjoyed, frankly, hearing from Rukata, and hopefully we do get to hear kind of more from him via some content we maybe can do with him. But just I think a very cerebral guy in the way he thinks about things, how he approaches. He's like, yes, I'm the captain and the leader, but I don't need to be in all aspects. I don't need to control everything. I really, he likes to hear from everything. I think he's a guy that's competed a lot before. He's competed in a couple of different games.
Right.
He's a guy that's led teams before. So overall, I do like that he kind of has the reins for the Knights, but I think he's going to be a good leader for what is a very wide array of personalities and experience levels for this squad.
Sort of a weird melting pot team and getting it all to mesh, and obviously worked out
Did you
a
happen to
little
see
bit
that
yesterday.
picture on Twitter they put up the other day of all of who they're Simslow was Megamind. They had some
that's
little
right. They had the tags
oh
over it.
man, that was so
Somebody was
funny.
like a stick with a
Somebody was a stick with a mouse. That was
beard.
Ricotta.
I don't know what it was.
It was literally just a stick man who aims. That's all Ricotta is.
Well, I guess it works some way. We're installing a few things on the client side here, so we're going to take a quick break before jumping into our third set of the day.